Earlier today, it was a war of attrition for St Kilda. They lost their skipper, Nick Riewoldt, in this sickening clash. Knocked out, he was taken to hospital for scans. The good news is those scans were clear. He is awake and resting comfortably now, so a scare averted as we head to Sydney. Big night for Jared McVeigh and his little daughter, Lolita Luella, as Daddy celebrates his 250th game. Gary Rowan, incidentally, is playing his 50th. And for those of you who missed the news, we mentioned earlier that Hawkins is out of the lineup. But let's have a look at Sydney's lineup. Pretty good-looking outfit, isn't it? Unfortunately, Isaac Heaney is still missing with that knee problem. McVeigh, as I said, celebrating 250, Rowan 50. And Sydney currently sitting at 4-2, coming into this round at 4th position on the ladder. And they'll be clean to cement their spot in the top 8. Geelong, it's a different story, isn't it? Because they're in that group that are 3-3 at the moment. Hawkins is out. They bring back Stokes and Blees. They've lost Cowan with a hamstring, and Cockatoo has been omitted. But they're still a formidable combination. And even though they're missing guys like Hawkins and Bartel and Mackie, they can still produce good football on the day. So looking forward to this one. We've had a couple of blowouts today, so we're due for something that's tight and exciting at ANZ Stadium. In other news today, well, we can see both sides out on the ground. There's Joel Selwood. So much responsibility resting on his shoulders, and that ominous forward line of Sydney's with Tippett, Buddy, Goods, Rowan, they're all there, ready to strike. So it's a cool night in Sydney, no rain. Let's head to ANZ Stadium. It is Geelong and the Sydney Swans to continue round 7.
So I hope we see that fanatical play on that we saw from Geelong last week. It was the Geelong of old. They were aggressive, they handled a lot. And there's a matchup, Blitzarves and Kennedy to kick us off.
Well, he had Pendlebury last week, Blitzarves. Ask you the question, perhaps you can answer it later. Is there a position that man can't play? Blitzarves, a rarity in football, that is for sure. Hanbury, first touch of the footy. Jeddah, pursued by the tackler Guthrie.
Well, the first thing to look for here with Blitzarves, when he was on Pendlebury early last week, he was going third man up in a lot of these ruck drills.
Surely they would have done their prep on that tonight here. Richmond wouldn't allow that to happen.
Yeah, well, if he does go up, you don't want Kennedy then getting the clearance either, so it can work both ways.
Murdoch and Selwood involved. Selwood perhaps flopping a little too easily forward there, and the umpire decided. Yes.
I don't reckon the Cats want a lot of ball-ups and stoppages around here tonight, because the Swans are the best in the comp at it, and Geelong are currently not that good. There you go, there's Blitzarves.
And did you hear the umpire say then, Darcy, keep an eye on this one over here in relation to the third man up?
Yeah, they're all over it. Darcy Lane drives the Cats inside 50. That's Walker, who's the late inclusion. Tom Hawkins, the late omission. And Stevie Motlop gets dumped over, and there's a bit of aggression in that from Parker. Let's get back down to Cameron Ling.
Well, you can question there, and I reckon the man who set it up early for Sydney, that aggressive intent, was Mike Pike. Mitch Duncan here, that's a bit of the old rugby union style tackle. Fantastic intent. Both teams have come out physical in this opening minute or so.
Shoulder right through style tackle. Well picked up, Lingy, because that's exactly what it was. And the intent is there, and the intensity is there already.
Big T, the Swans started Franklin, Goods and Tippett all down in that forward 50.
No goals to Lance Franklin last week. Still played okay, though, having said that.
22 touches still.
Yep.
Still did his job.
Stanley, who's been in some form as well for the Cats.
And he played up the ground a lot more, Brian. He wasn't that deepest target.
And Darcy, how have you found Stanley fitting into the Geelong way?
Really well. I thought it worked superbly for them last week. His athleticism, he had 18 disposals. I know Blitzarves is there as a ruck rover. There he goes, third man up again. It worked really well to Stevie J. They're going to lob this one high inside 50. Mitch Clark comes bursting through. Sam Reid in defence. Maybe not correct disposal. Benefit of the doubt given. And we've got a really fierce contest. You can see just a bit of niggle in it too, Richo. McVeigh wanted to go on there. And Motlop.
Absolutely. If you're going to have a lot of clearances, there's Motlop, little fakey in the breadbasket there to McVeigh.
So Pike now dealing with Blitzarves. Parker had a fresh air swing on his non-preferred right. Hanbury lurking. Parker goes back in for a second attempt. That one won't be coming out. So I think Stanley and Blitzarves, it's an athletic matchup that I think can trouble Pike. Pike's going to be stronger. You can see his big frame around the ball now, but I would be getting on my bike if those two and really trying to score. Free kick.
Yeah, Blitzar's free. Now, the umpires have been watching this task. We mentioned it a moment ago. They have done their homework here, the umpires, on what's been happening, and they are all over it, and they might even react slightly over the top with it.
And that's what you do when you have got something different. You draw free kicks because Sydney now, they're making sure they don't get the third man up. There's a bit of panic going on. Is Stanley going up? Is it Blitzarves? And this will be a nice little win for them.
You could see Josh Kennedy talking to the umpire, looking for clarification.
Blitzarves come in, he does everything pretty well, and that is a really good start for the Cats.
Well, you're looking at the most improved player in the competition. Absolutely, in Blitzarves. He was great last week. Probably best on ground against the post. I mean, Scott Pendlebury does what he does. He still had plenty of the ball, but this man had a big influence early in the game when it was there to be won, and he's doing it again. He's got the opposition thinking about him, worried about him, and that's a great sign for Blitzarves and the Cats.
Let's have a look at the free kick. It goes the way of Mark Blitzarves. So Kennedy, he's just shaping up, thinking that Blitzarves is playing on him.
Yeah.
Not realising that Blitzarves is going the ruck, and the umpire had no choice but to play a free kick. So he's stiff there, Joey Kennedy, but
He's just holding his position and ground.
But was Blitzarves the nominated ruckman, though?
he was,
Yeah.
and you're not allowed to block the ruckman, so the free kick had to be paid. But that's the confusion. Here's Stanley now driving the Cats deep in attack. Mitch Clark's got a good look at it, had a first hand on the footy. Grundy was able to pick it up. Jake Lloyd's handball partially smothered. Good start here from the Cats. They're going to clear defence. The Swans, Gary Rowan, and getting back there and doing a pretty good job is Corey Enright.
That's probably the one thing they don't want happening Geelong at the moment. So we'll just take another look at that free in the middle. Mike Pike just taking his eyes off the ball. But the kick that then went in long, it went to both Josh Walker and Mitch Clark and their opponents, all in the one space. I reckon the Geelong forwards need to isolate against their opponents, not allow those Sydney defenders to help each other.
Very tactical game at the moment, Richo.
The other thing is Kennedy's all of a sudden worrying about Blitzarves around these stoppages and not just playing his natural game, which is a clearance machine. So,
By the way, the big team stat, I reckon, here tonight, particularly for Sydney, they've won 16 of 16 games when they've scored 100 points or more. So can they score 100 against the Cats tonight? Because they win when they do. There's Mitchell, and he looks like he's, as each week goes by, consolidating his position in this team. Teddy Richards the target here. Johnson went with a fist. Did well here. Richards was able to get hold of the footy. Intercepted now by Walker. He was a late replacement here for the big fella Hawkins. If you've just turned on and you're wondering where the Tomahawk is, no go tonight. Saw Gloop. Here's Motlop from 50 out. Decides to hawk it in the square. Johnson was there. And a rush behind.
it's a great start by Geelong, though, as Stevie J had a bit of a wrestle there. They've had the first 5 inside 50.
There is plenty of niggle in this one to start. It's two of the best teams of the last decade head-to-head. Here's Joey Kennedy. Blitzarves is the matchup. Hanbury, they link up with Franklin, who again's pushing up the ground. Not his best effort. Really tumbled one inside 50. Parker did well to get clean possession, and now Tippett, Lloyd, they've got some numbers back in the Cats. Great courage from Parker. No regard for his own safety. The best and fairest winner from last year, Richo. He's going to play on here.
Yeah, he's an outstanding player. We know you just mentioned how good he was last year, but he did play deep forward a little bit last week. You just called Franklin again up the ground. They are trying different matchups, Dust.
So here he is, Luke Parker. Just something we take for granted, I think, in our game. Just how brave Nick Riewoldt today, suffering a really nasty head collision, and the players will be well aware of that. They have an extraordinary amount of courage. Parker, one of the bravest, and on the right foot, and just slots that through from the pocket. First goal for the Swans. Luke Parker's got it.
That's a great result for Luke Parker, playing inside 50. And he had 2 cracks at that one. He led out to the first ball from Franklin, which dropped short, but he stayed involved. He then got back and found a little bit of space behind him, took a courageous mark, and he's a great finisher. Comes off the ground. So the Swans get a goal from their first inside 50. It's been a good start. Lovely kick at goal, kept his head right over it. And generally don't miss if your head's over the ball like that, BT.
No, very good result here for Swans, and good one for Parker to get away with here with an accurate kick. Here's Kennedy, found some space out the back. Mitchell let it go just a little quick, perhaps to a voice rather than the jumper. Kennedy again, now Reed. Little poker, draws goods to the footy. He goes immediately to the man that can really go by foot in Jeddah. Rowan a little under the footy, and Hughes now an opportunity to just go short and gain a little control here with Murdoch. Murdoch also short to Guthrie. Risky short, but Guthrie now to Stanley on the run. He can keep going if he wishes. Tippett will have little effect on this. Kick back inside. It's not what it should have been. And Laidler gets in the way.
I like what Stanley's trying to do there. He's really trying to work over Tippett, and when Pike's there, he's a big aerobic athlete as well. See if he can play like an extra midfielder. Here's Goods. He's desperate to get some form and continuity going. He's had 4 games, 2 he started as sub, 1 he got subbed off. So he's got a head of steam up. He got it back. Kick was awkward though. Had a target down there in Jack, and he missed him by a fair way. Harry Taylor gets back. Cats have got this covered with Enright. Experience and class when that man's involved. Out comes Kirsten. Picked up by Rampy. And that's not his best effort either. And a very good intercept player is Harry Taylor. And once again, he's in the right spot.
Just about the best in the comp. Cale Hooker from the Bombers. He's right up there in that department as well. But Harry Taylor, just about the best.
Adam Goods looking a little tired there. Had 4 touches in about 20 seconds then. Adam Goods, and it's coming his way again, so he's going to have to get working again. Good grab from Kennedy from the side, and Rivers was flat-footed. He could do nothing about it.
Already they're trying a lot of their on-ballers through the forward 50. Parker's kicked the first goal. Now Kennedy, who started in the middle, obviously. He's gone forward. What a weapon that is. And you can go forward as an on-baller and take a mark. It's 188, so he's got the height to go forward and mark the footy.
One of the all-time great recruits from another club. Kennedy comes in. This one's a little right, but it's enough. And it's straight. They've got a couple here, the Swans.
A bit going on here off the ball.
It's not enough for a free kick.
Buddy, I think, may have just tried to milk a free kick there. He's having a bit of a laugh. The ball's going back to the middle, and the Swans have answered well after the first couple of minutes. It was dominated by the Cats. Swans are right on top now. Had the last 5 inside 50s.
Just a little bit of niggle here with the Geelong boys and Buddy, and the umpire said to Buddy, not enough in that for a free kick, so we go back to the middle.
And well umpired. I'd like to see those ones let go and reach Stanley's handball. Tell you what, I reckon the modern player is not a great exponent of the handball. That was a clanger handball from Stanley. It was a metre target, and he missed it by a metre. Rampy's going to clean this one up. The Swans will be pretty happy to have had a couple of midfielders kick goals early. Parker and Kennedy. Hanbury had just the 18 disposals last week. Daniel Cross kept into a season low. He'll be keen to get it back up to his consistent best. Reed wrapped up by Blitzarves. He might be in trouble here. Well, I said nothing doing.
So you reckon they were better in 1920 with the handball, Das? Or?
Well, I've seen in recent weeks, BT, players miss handball targets a metre away regularly, and I think there's something in it. We practice our kicking so much. I don't see many handball drills at training.
You and Richo, just get your theories together as Johnson goes long and deep. Laidler up over the top, couldn't hold it. White, Clark first to recover, little one around the corner.
And have a look at this. Now this is something you do at Auskick. Now, Big Reese, that's a metre handball, Richo. Now, we've all missed them, but I'll tell you what, we don't practice the handball anymore.
I reckon
it's an underrated skill.
Kevin Bartlett would have been able to hit that handball. He didn't handball a lot.
Reed, little low footy into good, and Franklin had a little bit of trouble picking it up. Now Jeddah to Parker. Parker low, still 60 out. Wanted Jeddah, goes back inside. Buddy on his left. Bang. From 60, Buddy range, misses.
See, that's gone 70 metres, that drop punt from Buddy.
Well, look damaging, don't they, when they go forward, the Swans. They got so much talent everywhere. When you see Tippett, Franklin pushing up, and player of Goods' quality. Reid now pushing forward as well. Stevie J had to sit under one, and Laidler took a fair bit of the body and the ball. Stokes back in. Got injured in round 3. They'll welcome him back. Kirsten's going to stand up, hold his feet. Really enjoy Ramby playing. He's just a great one-on-one player to Loy. They work the handball nicely here on this occasion. Richards swept the one out to Mitchell, and Stevie J had Kennedy in his sights and was able to bundle him over the line.
Well, they've now doubled the Cats in possessions, the Sydney Swans, so they're really getting their hands on the footy, and they're controlling the game at the moment. They've had the last 6 inside 50s.
So Blitzarves, he's rotating between tall midfielder on Kennedy and then also taking some genuine ruck roll. Great tackle applied on Hanbury by Selwood. Go at it again, these two. No prior opportunity.
Oh, geez, if they weren't pulled apart, they would have gone on with it then. And unlucky not to get a free then, Joel Selwood, because he took him on Hanbury and then tried to duck it out the back door. Caddy. Fast hands here. Duncan got it moving. Shaw on the end of it at half back. Smith. Duncan again. Feeds an opportunity to Lang. And now on to Guthrie into an open goal. Geelong get their second.
Yeah, nice goal from the Cats. Worked that nicely into forward 50. Guthrie, the running goal. The superstitious Guthrie, I read during the week, he starts the first half of the game in the short sleeves jumper and then puts the long sleeve on at half time.
Serious?
Yeah, he gets a little bit cold at half time and he changes into the long sleeve. So Bristol, you have a laugh, but check it out in the third quarter. We'll see if he wears the long sleeve after half time.
Unbelievable.
Well, Darcy, you've been talking about the handball skills. That's nice from Mitch Clark right there. The little no-look handball sets his teammate away, and Cam Guthrie, terrific finish. This game has been first class. The skills, the pressure, everything. Great start by both these teams.
Don't reckon they pulled out the no-looker in 1920, Das.
It's Polly Farmer-like.
There's Tippett, the big fella. Tackled there by Rivers. Good. Feeds Jeddah. Very unselfishly, Jeddah. A centering ball to Buddy.
That was a sensational kick. He was hard up against the boundary line, Lewis Jeddah, and that's the skills there, the kicking skills that.
Yeah, they love giving it to him, don't they, on that outer side out there?
You have a look at this here when he gathers this ball on the boundary line. Franklin made a lead up the middle, and with nothing the defender can do there. He hasn't kicked a goal for a while, Buddy.
No, but he's right in the driver's seat here to nail this one. He does it very, very convincingly indeed. He's happy, he's first in a while.
So a bit going on again here. Stevie J and Buddy now.
No, nothing. Yeah,
Good umpiring.
There's nothing in it.
Good umpiring. There's nothing in that. Just let it go, and they have. Buddy will go back to the goal square. Kicked his first goal, didn't kick one last week. He's had 5 disposals, and they are dominating the possession count, the Sydney Swans.
Just a little more anger here as Stevie J just wanted to give him a bit of a chest bump, and then he realised Buddy was just a touch bigger and a little more reach.
I like what the umpire's doing down there. He's saying, just get on with it, you clowns. Nothing doing here. No soft free kick. Mitchell, leading hardball get player in the competition over the last 2 weeks. That kick a little astray.
It's fantastic because there's nothing in that. There are big boys out there, plenty of emotion. A little bit of that, it's not going to hurt anyone. You don't want games being decided by a free kick given for something like that.
Rivers has to go long down the line. Genuine pushing the back there against Mitch Clark. Ted Richards, the beneficiary of that pretty obvious free kick. McGlynn. So he's got the jobbling you're bringing around with Joel Selwood. Is that the way you're seeing it?
He certainly does. He's playing a hard tag on the Cat skipper.
Coming across and a courageous effort from Thurlow, and he's going to earn himself a free kick. Play on with Guthrie.
He's doing a good job so far, Ben McGlynn. Only 1 touch for Joel at the moment.
They were a lot better last week, Geelong. They got some great support for Selwood, with Caddy playing really well and Duncan winning some contested possessions, as well as Blitzarves, and Stevie J had a big game. So He does carry this side a lot, Joel Selwood, but he needs the support. That kick, Laidler in the box seat, and he found himself with an intercept mark.
So Laidler, short ball on the lead. Kennedy again. Too far for him to goal. Centering footage long at the numbers here. Blitzarves flies and does it convincingly. Been doing a little bit of historical research in the last minute or two. Hard to do that when you're calling a game, but wait for this, Das. It concerns the handballs you talk about.
Here we go.
Little one from Rivers sideways to Murdoch. I just got a...
You got something, have you?
I got a little smile here at the moment, Das, as it comes towards Taylor on the wing.
I'm sticking with modern handball. Hasn't improved a lot.
Stokes, Motlop over the top. Interception here now for Jeddah. Jeddah been pretty good on that far wing out there. And now an opportunity for McVeigh. Game 250 for him. Inch perfect as usual. Hanbury sparkling kick around the corner. Lonigan perhaps a hole. The umpire says no. Buddy wins the foot race. Did he have the footy? The appeals, nothing. And a late call. A very, very late call from the umpire there. Well, that was incredibly late.
Tommy Lonigan not that happy with it. He turned him around. Oh, he didn't have the ball, so
I reckon it was a free, but
yeah, I think it is.
he had to plead his case almost cricket style. How's that? So wrong side for the left. Does he go the left foot Nana from here, or does he go the drop punt? Because his kick is normally heavily left to right. He's going the drop punt, so he sets it up. Buddy from a difficult angle for his style, as I thought would always be a little difficult. Now, just this historical handball stat following on from Darcy's good work. Round 14, 2004, the Dogs versus the Dockers. Luke Darcy, 4 handballs, Richo. At what effectiveness do you reckon?
Who's that, Das?
4 handballs. At 25%, Das.
It's supporting my theory. We didn't practice the handball enough. I think I had 25 effective kicks from memory on that game, which balanced it out a little bit, but no, fair enough. Kick inside, 50 against been marked by Corey Enright.
He's all over you tonight, Das, BT.
He's all over everyone at the moment. The bristle is Harry Taylor. He's got a short ball on. Last week we saw this great play on through the corridor, Geelong style, and they're able to get out of the blocks. The Swans are a great defensive team. Now they try and take the risky one through the corridor. Back to Thurlow. He started it, Blitzarves. Got some run from Darcy Lane. That one's hung in the air a bit too long. Duncan goes back with a flight. Can he get to his feet and win a ball on the ground? He did. That handball missed the target. Gregson to Darcy Lang. Back now to Motlop. Stevie will kick this, I reckon, from 35. He will. Stevie's got it. 3 goals to the Cats and scores are level.
Steadied really well there, Stevie Motlop, and kicked the goal. So they're doing well. The last 2 goals have come from, you know, players running through 30, 40 and kicking goals on the run, and they're going to have to do that tonight. The Swans don't allow you to mark the ball inside 50, so you're going to have to get goals from play. Well, there's Tommy Lonning. He's got the big job on Buddy Franklin tonight. Now, that beard is getting pretty long. Now, I've heard he's a superstitious man as well.
Oh, no.
Now, he doesn't shave his beard until he has a bad game. So he hasn't had a bad game for a while.
What was the other superstition you ran with before?
Cam Guthrie will have a long sleeve on after half-time. Are these right, Mingy, or am I wrong?
You're absolutely right about Cam Guthrie. He reckons it's not a superstition. He reckons he just gets a little bit chilly when he cools down. But I reckon it might be a superstition as well. And Tom Lonigan, you are spot on. Very good mail for you, Richo.
He's rating his own performances pretty well then, Tommy. There's Harry. As I cut it off for 12 months.
By the end of the year, he's going to look like Ned Kelly. You know he's had a good year.
Oh, yeah. There's an opportunity for Enright out of defence. Let's see what Geelong can do here, because I tell you what, Sydney have got them boxed in at their end of the ground here, their favourite end. McVeigh to tidy up here, and Sydney now under a little bit of pressure. Murdoch's got a good leg on him, and no exception here. High ball, but not a lot of direction. Stanley's got to compete, and he gives away the free against Tippett. Umpire Scott Jeffrey right on the spot. McVeigh looking a little worse for wear too. Might have got one down low.
And the James Kellys.
Yep.
The big challenge tonight is there's a turnover here.
Stanley, find out the handball. Stevie J, nifty little kick around the corner to Stokesy, and Teddy Richards really didn't get the spoiling done there. So that's why McVeigh's just got a little knock there as the goal is kicked in the meantime, but the replay was revealing. Oh, boy. Wow, did you see that?
I think we're going to have another look at that replay. He's in a bad way, Jared McVeigh. That's never fun. And let's have a look at that again, because let's just say, to be kind, it was awkward. If you're being unkind, you might say that was...
Was he trying to knock the ball?
But let's hope he was. Let's hope he was, and maybe that's the case. But he ended up with a goal, Stevie J, so he's happy.
The ball was...
The accidental hit to the groin, you would say he's being kind.
Yeah, the ball didn't seem to be there, but...
I mean, he might have been having a crack at the ball, but not the yellow one there, Richo.
Well, anyway, the goal for the Cats.
Unfortunate.
Yes, and this is a good start for Geelong. They need to be in the contest up here in Sydney early, and they've got a good start to this game. Here's McVeigh. The good news is he's back up and running, and he's okay. Parker, look at the strength and the skill to find his way through that traffic. Now look at the athleticism of Franklin. He'll take Lonergan on. Got to keep his feet, Lonergan. Buddy, can he keep it in? Couldn't quite. He looks fresh and he looks fit. He looks fired up after a goalless game last week.
He does.
In his last 187 games, BT, only goalless on 9 occasions. The big one.
Up and about, you're quite right. Boundary throw in here deep for the Swans. Tip it in front. Stanley reaches at the back. Here's McGlynn. Off to Lloyd. Round the corner. Centering ball. Dangerous ball here for the Cats. Trying to tidy it up on that occasion was Thurlow.
Well, the Sydney boys, of course, were good enough to remind him of that during the week and left a box of donuts for him in his locker, just to suggest maybe kicking 0 goals isn't what he wanted to do.
Tell what's underrated about Buddy, and we do talk about it a bit, how team-orientated he is. He had a absolute gimme goal late in the game against Melbourne last week, and he handed it off. I can't remember who.
Gave it off to Teddy Richards.
Gave it off to Teddy, didn't he? Yeah. He plays the game in a really team-orientated way.
So he wasn't thinking about the fact that he hadn't kicked a goal, which was...
I reckon the two men either side of me, the Big Bristol and Richo, might have given a hand, but they'd have been goalless late in the last quarter.
No chance of getting that off.
Hey, this is the style that makes Geelong really dangerously. Umpire just telling Gary Rowan to settle down, but it feels as though the corridor attack is right back on for the Cats.
Yeah, they're going to keep trying to take that corridor. However, Sydney, they're such a good defensive team. They do defend well, and if they win it back, they're not afraid to go corridor themselves. They know they've got a good forward line to get it into.
There's a big footy to be won here. Motlop got absolutely pulverised there by Reid. It's a hard footy to be won. Well done by Harry Taylor. He was able to keep his head, and a free kick, I thought, to Mitch Duncan. Well, the advantage has been paid, and that's a bit harsh. Caddy, in hindsight, probably wouldn't have taken it had he have known the pressure is going to be under.
Oh, great handball by Enright. Sensational stuff under enormous pressure then from Enright. The kick not so good here on that occasion from Thurlow, but Geelong benefit from it. Rivers got an open player here on an opportunity for Walker, who replaced Hawkins in this game. Oh, use of the body there was sensational from Kirsten. He knew where the drop zone was, and he didn't want Sydney in that area at all.
Absolutely, BT. That you called it the drop zone, and he just protected the space where the ball was going to land, and that's a sign of a natural forward there. Tough shot here now for Kirsten. He's looking inboard.
Really tough kick, Richo. No option being the right footer to run around the left unless you're really multi-talented. So he goes the right foot nana and clipped it a little early. So an intriguing game. Geelong by a goal here.
They've been able to kick 4 goals, and that's a lot against this Swans team. They're the number 2 defence in the comp, apart from Fremantle, and they only give up 7 marks a game. So the Cats are making some inroads early.
An extra footy on the ground there. The umpire correctly saying wasn't going to have any impact. McVeigh started at full-back, worked on... Look at Hanbury run. He's one of the great aerobic athletes in the competition. He's working overtime, but forward pressure from Geelong has been pretty good, although Grundy had a bit of time and space there. This is Mike Pike. Enright able to compete with the bigger opponent. Stokes. What can Murdoch do? He's got speed. He's got a powerful left foot. They need a contest here. Walker was not in the right position, and Teddy Richards. They combine really well to Sydney defence. They are settled, their experience, and they generally do it well, but not then.
He bit off too much then. The ball was way too long in the air on the switch. It needed to be a short 25-metre kick, and Smith's telling him now that should have gone to Grundy, and it didn't. Too long in the air. Have a look at this.
Yeah,
you can't have a 50-metre kick across goal, Richo.
No, and the shorter one was on. Go the shorter one. He could have played on and then got it out further towards this side of the ground. So
Ball 2 seconds in the air gives the defender the time to get there, doesn't it?
Absolutely. A couple of big turnovers late in this quarter, and it could cost them another goal here.
Kirsten. Pretty straightforward one, this. 30 directly in front, and it's a really nice off-the-boot kick, but just to the right. He hit it well, and it looked good. Minute and 24 remaining here. Geelong by 7 points late in the first.
That's a bad miss. Would have been a really big confidence builder for the Cats heading into quarter time to have kicked 3 in a row, and now the Swans, as Lingy said, they're prepared to go through the middle and take the game on. Rowan's kick was an absolute shocker. Stokes working his way back into AFL footy nicely. Guthrie is going to accept that one.
Tippett had all of the space behind him then. He wanted a long kick over his head then, Tippett, and he went the shorter option, Rowan.
He just needed some elevation on it. Tippett was in the box seat. Swans fans think that went about 8 metres, and I think they've got a fair case. It was barely 15. If
I think Swans fans too, Das, were suggesting that perhaps Stevie J wasn't trying to punch the ball earlier, the football.
Well, Lingy,
they're not happy with him.
Let me ask you the question. Do we give him the benefit of the doubt on that one?
I think the footy was a long way away. I'd like to see that in normal motion from a different angle, but that angle didn't look good for Stevie J at all. The footy was a long way from him.
All right, that's what we love about Cameron Lingy. He just calls it the way he sees it every single time, and we will have a look at that at quarter time. Here's Tom Mitchell. Just an absolute ball-winning expert. He'd love to be able to add goal kicking to his repertoire as well, and he's bent that back nicely. No one on the line, and Tom Mitchell kicks a goal late, just before quarter time. Margin back to a 1-point lead, and I reckon there might be a ruckman who won't be happy. He should have been on the line and touched that potentially, Richard.
That's twice I've seen that happen today. Now, you talk about footballers being professional and covering every little thing. As we just take a look at this, Richo, what do you make of it?
Well, I'd have to just have another look at that, Brian. Here we go.
Yeah, the ball's on the ground. It's a long way away.
Yeah, it was pretty clumsy, no doubt. The ball was a mile off.
And they're showing it on the...
We're just having a look at all the different angles here, and that one, again, the footy a fair way away. And Stevie went back and said sorry. Went back, you can see his motion was to apologise, but...
So you've got all the angles, Lingy. Have you changed your mind?
I will say one thing. Stevie would not have meant to have hit him there, but I think maybe by the looks at it, he meant to give him a tap in the tummy for sure. There's no doubt that footy was too far away.
Intriguing game of football here. It's got everything. There's a little bit of niggle. There's plenty of scoring. And there's just a little bit of stuff we're not sure about as well. Geelong by 1 point, 4-4-26. Sydney, 4-3-27. Sydney by a point. There was some good stuff in the first quarter here at ANZ Stadium. Really good conditions for footy as well. Both teams scoring 4 goals in that first quarter. Geelong by just 1 point. Kennedy and Mitch Duncan both on fire for their respective sides. Lingy, you're watching Joel Selwood at quarter time. What'd you see?
I was, BT, and I noticed Chris Scott went straight up to him just to have a chat to him, because the first quarter, while really good for both teams, but certainly for Geelong, I reckon just sorting through with Joel Selwood exactly how he wants to play the rest of this game. He's got a hard tag at the moment. Ben McGlynn's doing the job on him. Only the 2 possessions, 1 kick, 1 handball for the Cat skipper, which is down on his normal output. But the real positive is Geelong are playing well without him having a dominant game. So that's a real thing that Chris Scott would be happy with. He just wants to make sure Joel Selwood maybe goes and covers a spot in a stoppage, still plays his role within the team, still looks to work his way into this game, but really happy with the way the Geelong midfield's going with Selwood being quiet.
Well said, Lingy, and he is going forward now, so he's not starting in the centre here, Joel Selwood. Only the 2 touches, as Lingy just said. McGlynn doing a good job, but Mitch Duncan continues to shine. 2 weeks in a row, he's had the perfect 10 in the Coaches Association votes, and he has 10 disposals in the first quarter, so other players stepping up for the Cats.
So a really entertaining, really physical, combative first quarter. Can Duncan drive the Cats forward? He had enough courage to take a bounce, and he did it really well. Good lead-up target. Perfect start. And Kirsten was the man who came out. He's sort of getting a bit of a shape about him that he fancies his chances.
He can roost it.
You back him in from here, Cameron?
He's a chance from here. He can kick a long ball.
He settled into it nicely, struck it beautifully. Is it going to carry the journey? Got all the way to the goal line. Selwood, as Richo mentioned, started forward, rampy. He's going to get a free kick. Didn't have the footy. And that's the benefit.
Selwood.
So there you go, Joel Selwood, who's got the hard tag of McGlynn. You push him forward and he draws a nice free kick.
He loved it too, Joel.
I think Dane Rampy enjoyed it just as much, but this is a good start for the Cats. Selwood kicks the first of the second quarter. Cats by 7 points.
Well, he's a champion, and if he's not having the best of nights in the midfield, he can go forward and do that. He draws a free kick there, something out of nothing really for Joel Selwood. And you know, of the balls in his area, it's one-on-one, having a bit of a laugh between the boys there. If it's in his area in a one-on-one, you know that you'll either win the footy or more than likely you'll be able to draw free kicks. So a good move by Chris Scott.
Well, that, the 5th goal there for the Cats matches last time they played. That was their total score. The Cats. So good signs here early in this one. Pike late, both ruckmen missed the footy in the end, and Reece Stanley just had the athleticism to go and get it. Caddy around the corner. Rampy went past it. Kirsten an opportunity now. In there and trying hard was Lang, but Smith wrapping up in a bear-hugging tackle.
Well, they're the number 2 contested possession team in the comp, the Swans, but the Cats are beating them at that tonight. And that's something the Cats haven't been great at early in this season. So a lot of positives here tonight.
You know, the big positive for me with that, Richo, is that Mitch Duncan's had 4 contested possessions. Reece Stanley's had 4. Murdoch's had a couple. So it's not just Selwood who is normally the one that they rely on so much.
Now, the umpire saying to the Geelong boys there, you've got to nominate the ruckman boys. I need to know so I can either pay a free kick. Now, this will almost be out of bounds deliberate, and it is. But the umpires are all over it and have been from the opening minute in the game. What happens if you don't nominate, though?
50.
And a 50-metre penalty here go against McGlynn, and this will mean Thurlow will be on the edge of the 10-metre square.
Well, the perfect start here in the second quarter. The Swans only give up 66 points a game. They're second in the comp. And the Cats have got a chance to go to 40 here already in the first minutes of this second quarter. So
this will make it 4 of the last 5 goals, Richo.
They're exposing the Swans at the moment.
Thurlow directly in front, nails the goal. Got the first 2 early in this second quarter, the Cats. So intriguing stuff. And just on that, Richo, if you don't nominate a ruckman, what does happen? I mean, they obviously didn't in that last one. The umpire gave him the benefit of the doubt. So he didn't pay a free kick.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure there.
Question is, and I don't think there's no punishment or penalty. I suppose you maybe lose the chance that you get paid a free kick if you're being blocked. Let's have a look at this 50-metre penalty show. So Ben McGlynn just crept over the mark. Thurlow wanted to play on, and it's a big penalty, isn't it? Big punishment. Stanley. Great second effort follow-up before. The clearance umpire's gone down. Crowd enjoying that.
Gee, he went on his back, Gregson.
The gymnast.
Yeah, the gymnast style. Have a look at this. Right up there, Pike.
Bounced up, though.
Good pick up from Duncan. He is in ripping form. Matthew Richardson, Mitch Duncan, that time he couldn't get clear.
Yeah, well, he's gone up a cog in the last month in career best form, Mitch Duncan.
He sure is. He had a career high 38 last week. He's already got 11 possessions. Like Pike. And The sidestep was good. The handball not great though. Sold his former captain Adam Goods into a bit of trouble. Gary Rowan with some skill and athleticism burst out of a contested situation. Rivers has got Tippett covered on this occasion. Underground handball to Thurlow. Jetta, he couldn't pick it up below his knees. Jack came through and Guthrie pretty happy to see that over. And they get a chance to regroup the Geelong defence.
Have a look at Mike Pike here. Well, he's doing what the big man should, give it off to the more skillful runners and Adam Goods, but maybe on that occasion you just need to whack it forward.
Mike, as he does on this occasion, works it forward. Hanbury there and did the basics, fast hands again, with a funny little kick through there. Stevie J lunging forward in an attempt to try and help the free kick, and he's got Goods by the throat there, so doing some unusual things here in this one, Stevie, but he does that most of the time and keeps us entertained. Jetta would have done well to step out of bounds there. Keeps it alive. Motlop now. Hanbury. Look how many players around in that really tight area. Grundy eventually out the back door to Jetta. Now some open space here. Rampy's free.
That's Parker, I think, just drawing the free there.
Oh, it is Parker.
Yeah. Bruce Parker. He'll have a chance to kick his second goal.
So a clear head-high tackle there from Hughes, wasn't it?
Yeah, the umpire was right on that. And that's the thing about these gun midfielders going forward. Defenders can panic when they're in one-on-ones.
So Parker looking for his second goal here. 45 out. That's a beautiful strike of the footy. Buddy says it's a goal. The umpire agrees.
He's a dangerous one-on-one player, isn't he, Luke Parker? It's a good move. We know that he was the best and fairest winner last year as a midfielder. But very good overhead, very good set shot kick. He's the complete package in lots of ways, Luke Parker. 2 early goals, a good return. Couple of goals to Luke Parker. He's third in the Swans goal kicking so far in 2015 behind Tippett and Buddy Franklin. Speaking of Tippett, here in the centre bounce, he leapt early, really get near the ball. And
well, he hasn't touched the ball inside 50 yet, Tippett, tonight.
Great look at the athleticism of Reece Stanley, who was able to just burst away from Tippett. Selwood, who's permanent forward at the moment, kicked the first goal of the second quarter. And just a little offline on that occasion. So what you're saying, hasn't touched the footy yet, Kurt Tippett?
Well, he's gone into the ruck and he has had no influence, hasn't touched it inside 50 yet. So now he gets a chance to have some influence on the game in the ruck, Kurt Tippett.
So Grundy.
They need him touching it inside 50, though. They need that to take pressure off Franklin down there.
Reece Shaw. Sideways little switch to Richards, who's right up against the boundary line, so he really only has one choice here, and that is into that open spot on the wing. And that's where he's going to drive it long to the one-on-one. Keeping his feet and doing well. Hughes there brought it down to the front. Selwood's little kick was smothered. Parker applying a really aggressive tackle there on Thurlow. And we'll have a ball up 65 from the Cats left of screen goal. Once again, third man up. There he was, Blitzarve. So doing well in that tactic at the moment. Stokes, little one around the corner, high footy on the head of McVeigh. He decides to not go back. Johnson's there. Now McVeigh arrives, looking for someone that's got a little bit of space, and he finds that man here now. So now we can get going. Mitchell with the fast hands to the explosive Jetta. Bounced through the middle, thought about another one, ran a long way with that second one, tries to spot up Reed, needed to be a little stronger in the contest then Reed. Guthrie bowls through, Franklin says no you won't, and they have words at ground level as well, and both hammering at the footy there.
That's why these Sydney players love Buddy Franklin as a teammate, not for his goal kicking, because of the impact he can make with tackling and that sort of effort. Joel Selwood draws another high free kick. He certainly knows how to get those, but Buddy Franklin, just fierce when he tackles the opposition, really makes you know that you're playing against him.
It's a great contest, this one. It's got a bit of everything. It's tough. There's some good skill on display. Guthrie had a little fumble, but he's got Selwood in his sights, and he did really well to get lower and underneath the Franklin tackle. In right, dangerous ball through the middle. Darcy Lang there, good hands.
50 metres.
Oh, wow. Another one.
Well, Selwood's getting going now as well. He's had 5 already in this quarter, so you can't keep him down for a full game. And this is another 50-metre penalty against the Swans.
Watching the footy so far in round 7, it feels like this is the rule of the week. Umpires have been told, hey, the players are creeping over the mark. They have been red hot on 50-metre penalties.
They've got to call play on quicker. If the player's already taken 3 steps off the mark and they still haven't called it, that's too late.
Yep. And the players have got to adjust because they are going to be penalised. It's a big penalty. Darcy Lang directly in front, and he makes no mistake.
Well, it's a big penalty, all right, because that is 2 goals in this quarter that have been gifted to the Cats, some 50-metre penalties, 60 to 70 metres out from goal, and you just can't afford that. In a tight contest, the players have to adjust. Looks like they're red hot on it tonight. So you need to be able to pick that and adjust accordingly as a player.
Joel Selwood here, hitting the head-high tackle. Have a look at the stats there. Way ahead of any other player since he started playing for Freeze for head-high tackles. Have a look at that. Joel Selwood and Adam Selwood, but Joel miles ahead. He does it better than anyone else. Here's Enright. Centre half back to Motlop. The spread wide. One back in here to Duncan.
Stay there, Ben.
Trying their best to get it back inside the corridor here. Now Kirsten.
That's a mark, Ben.
So a 14-point Geelong lead here. Plenty of time before the main break. Here's Blitzarves on the lead. Needed to get the Jukes out in front there. Just a little footy knowledge. Rampy took him on. Gave him plenty of time. Duncan yet again. He's knocking up, getting it. His 13th touch of the game. Leads all possession getters on the ground, Mitch Duncan.
He's a big improver, and that is where the excitement is for Geelong. Richo described Blitzarves as the most improved player in the competition. Hard to argue with that, but this next generation are starting to fire. They'd like to get Kirsten in his 12th game right up and running as well. Came back into the side in round 5. It's a good centering kick. Finds Jackson Thurlow. He had a career-high 30 disposals last week. Kick from outside 50 to the goal square and just touched on the line. So through for a minor score.
Well, the Swans have got to get something going here. The Cats have been able to hold them up pretty well. Haven't seen any run and flow in their game so far in this second quarter. The only time Jetta came through the middle of the ground, he had nothing forward to go to.
Getting a little jammed up here at the moment, Sydney. Geelong doing really well. Stevie J with a creative handball to Harry. Harry Taylor screws it back inside, looking for Kirsten. Spinning pirouette off one, bounced into another. Now they arrive in numbers here. Rampy really didn't want it to come out of there, did he? Went back inside, searching for the contact.
Watch behind. I'm coming out that way, boys.
Umpire Scott Jeffrey just telling him where he's going. Blitzarves over the top, tried to crash through.
Sydney! High fend off, Josh.
High fend off.
That was another third man up. Mitch Clark, this time I think it was, that came third man up.
So Smith, the recipient here. Can they find a way out of this? Sydney here at the moment. Lloyd.
Lingy, do you think they're doing that because they haven't got a genuine #1 ruckman at the moment?
Well, it's probably the best tactic that they can come up with at the moment. I'll come back to it in a second, Richo.
Yeah. Stevie J, it's the look-away kick. It's his signature one. Caddy in the box seat will get a free kick here. Going the other way.
It's going to Nick Smith.
Well, I must admit, my reaction was a bit like Chris Scott's initially. We'll get a look at that in a minute, but here comes Stevie again. He's giving away a free kick. So what looked like a certain shot at goal for the Cats. Let's take a look at this. Okay, so it was the drag down.
Absolutely.
The initial look for me was that it was the other way around.
Yeah.
But well done, the umpire. Here comes Reece Shaw. Always clever at full speed. And Finds Gary Rowan. Swan's going to go to the edge of 50 in front. A little too quick, a little too athletic there for Lonergan. This is the range where he almost relaxes into it, buddy. Where you give almost no other player in the league a chance. These are the ones that we've seen him kick regularly, Richo.
Yeah, no surprise if he puts this through. He seems to enjoy his natural leg out on the boundary line.
60+ goals in each of the past 8 seasons for this man. As we mentioned,
unbelievable.
Incredible, isn't it? Just incredible. He likes his chances. Connection pretty good. Will it come around? It just started a little narrow and stayed there.
A 14-point Geelong lead here. Tight game. Not a free-flowing game by any means, but it's got a little bit of all of the aspects. Walker. Stokes appealing for the free. There's a lot of appealing and questioning of umpiring going on in this game at the moment. Parker keeps the hands free. Rampy. Sharp handball, Kennedy. What does he do? Took him on, so he had to get rid of it. Now it comes back to Parker. He kicks to a 1-on-3. Rowan did well to keep it alive. Through the traffic, McGlynn. McGlynn high ball. Here's Buddy. Lonergan under real pressure now. Lonergan holding on. Buddy, can he get a leg to it? No, he can't. And that's a good thing because it's gone right over the top.
I'm not sure. I think Buddy may have got a foot right on the line. I'm not sure. It's a goal either way. They're going to review it. No, blood rule, sorry.
I don't think so.
Lonergan's got the blood rule here, but Joe.
I think it's just body on body. Yeah. Okay, so he's trying to get to the ball. I don't think there's any clear hold in that area. Mate, yeah, and I can't pay if it's not.
Well, Buddy was asking, was there a hold there?
So that's fine.
Looked like he might have got a boot on that, Richo.
I think he's claiming it, buddy.
He's claiming it as a goal.
The ball changed a little bit of direction. Yeah, I reckon he did.
Even he says it's not a free.
So, have a look at this one. This will be definitive.
Yep, just a little
Deflection.
a little toenail on that one, I think.
Well, not absolutely 100% conclusive, but it did look like it. I'm going to leave it to our statistician, Josh Kay, and Champion Data to sort that one out. Let us know when you decide, boys. There's Selwood, goes long and deep. High footy. And well done in the back half there to Smith.
He read it well. Wants to find Hanbury. Stokes applies some really good pressure. Timely fist. And Gregson, he wanted to try and... Well, he's been paid deliberate, Gregson. One coach is up on his feet. He's a bit fired up. Footy has come down the commentary side of the ground here at ANZ Stadium. Let's have a look at the deliberate Gregson. He wanted to go one way and then the other. Well, I've had and seen a lot of times that's been called a better throw, and he's pretty stiff, Corey Gregson.
Very stiff.
Had a good story on him in the pre-game show. A former national gymnastics champion, Corey Gregson. I'm sure many AFL players have been.
I reckon when he kicks a goal at some stage, he needs to get a bit of that out.
What was his go? The floor, the rings, the beam? What was it?
The whole package.
Horse?
The floor.
His floor routine is amazing, BT. And Richo's right. If we could see that after a goal one day.
Bit of, soccer style.
Yes, absolutely.
He could have the 8 pirouettes into a triple backflip, Corey Gregson. Stevie J loves this situation. Got a really poor bounce. Lloyd comes in. Grundy still lurking, Stevie. There's Gregson as well. Walker, the late inclusion. Might have thrown that back. Umpires called play on. Stevie might not be. No, he's got a high level of skill. Parker took him over. So let's have a look.
Definite throw.
Had to be a throw.
Gee. Well disguised there from Walker, but I think you called it, Dar, so you were right up on seeing the replay as well. Blitzarves knocks down. Mitch Clark around the body. Will it get over the head? No, it won't, of McVeigh, and we'll have another boundary throw in deep in attack here for the Cats, who are pressing with the 8-point lead at the moment.
They are. Gee, that was a good trap there by Jared McVeigh. That could have done anything, that bounce from the Mitch Clark kick.
Pike missed the ball. Caddy out the back to Stevie J. Kept it rolling. Walker right foot snap. Got plenty of boot on it. Missed it left, pulled it back too much. 8 1/4 minutes remaining in the half. Geelong by 9 points.
They've got a chance for a fast break here now.
That was Buddy who'd pushed all the way up into the back pocket. And just for the record, that goal was credited Franklin's way earlier, BT, confirmed by Josh Kay and the champion data experts.
Guys, you can see there Kurt Tippett just getting his knee checked out at the moment. Doesn't look too serious. The sub, Dean Towers, warming up, but I'm sure he'll get strapped up, maybe re-strapped up, Kurt Tippett, and get back out there and test it out. Not too many concerns, but just looks a little bit sore.
Yeah, it's been quiet, as Richo pointed out, leading just the 4 handballs. This man hasn't been Duncan. He's in absolutely career best form at the moment. Long one to Mitch Clark. Stevie Motlop tried to keep it in and couldn't do so.
He has had knee issues, though, over the years, Kurt Tippett.
Not that successful at strapping knees, are they, like they are ankles? So you wonder whether that's more of a mental comfort thing for him, or whether it's they really are trying to.
What are you saying?
Firm it up.
Mental capability of playing with an injury. Do you think it's more in his head or more than?
No, I'm just saying that the strapping of the knee doesn't do a lot
In terms of support.
Yeah.
I think some players just feel more comfortable with the tape there. Okay.
Absolutely.
It's, I reckon when you get your knee taped, it's very restricting when you're running.
That's fine. Okay, thank you.
As opposed to your ankle being taped, though.
That was a question of the blood rule then, and the rule states that if it's free-flowing blood, you must go and get it fixed. If it's not free-flowing, then you can stay and have it attended to on the ground. Here's McGlynn. I'm not sure wiping it on his jumper was probably not necessarily the best way to go. But anyway, no trainer there, so that's what he did. Here's Buddy, fast hands Jetta.
That's the pick up there from Franklin.
It was good for a 6'6". They won a beautiful screwing kick back to the middle to Parker. Looping handball to Jack. Jack's got the outside runner in McGlynn. McGlynn to the goal square. Here is an opportunity for Adam Goods. And he makes sure he marks it inside the goal square.
Well, you can basically come back to Lance Franklin there, because this pick up here created all of this. It created the opportunity for Jetta to get it out into a bit of space. This kick was good too.
Goal 443 there for Adam Goods, and a much needed one for the Swans.
Yeah, fantastic play, and credit to Franklin and Jetta. They made something out of nothing at half-back, which gave Adam Goods the opportunity to take it, mark in the goal square and kick a goal. And that's what brilliant players can do. They can make something out of nothing. Well done to Franklin and Jetta.
That was a ridiculous pickup.
It was.
Players of that size, you're not supposed to be able to do that.
Richo, you love this kick from Lewis Jetta. You're spot on here. The kick inside there, instead of taking the safe option down the line, just saw Luke Parker completely set up all the play then. That's what led to the Ben McGlynn goal. Terrific finish by Ben McGlynn, but it was Lewis Jetta's willingness to be brave and use the corridor that got that goal.
A good clearance one here by the Cats. Caddy got it back to Murdoch. Mitch Clark just ran underneath the footy a bit. Feel like his timing's not great. Well played, Stevie J. Smothered the handball. Chipping kick was perfect for Stevie Motlop. And he's well within range, is Stevie.
Franklin's 197. He was running absolutely flat out. To pick that up off the deck like that.
You're simply not supposed to be able to do it, Richo.
No, you're not meant to be able to do that.
How tall are you, Richo?
196.
96. So gee, that's an amazing effort.
Didn't you watch the pre-game shots?
No, I didn't.
Harry Underwood.
He's 196, all right, Richard. Don't worry about that. He kicked 3 last week, Stevie Motlop. That one looks pretty good. Can it stay online? He has. That's a big goal for the Cats and a big goal for Stevie Motlop.
We've been talking about it.
Great finish, Stevie Motlop. Kicked a couple of goals now. And a good answer. They are just right in this tonight. The Cats playing great footy. They're matching the Swans in the areas coming into the game you thought was going to be the Swans' advantage, and that's clearance and contested. If you thought it was one of those sort of games, you'd think the Swans would win, but the Cats are matching them.
Need to have one more look at that. It, in slow motion, in some ways, doesn't do justice. He was going at full pace, running away from Harry Taylor in the one motion to scoop it up at 197 centimetres and then handball it directly to set up a goal is just genius. I don't think there's been a player in the game who has been that athletic.
Reid for Sydney down the last 6 minutes in this half. Ball near the boundary line and bowled Guthrie, and Rowan just uses the hip and shoulder to great effect. Didn't get all of the kick, Jeddah. No one can get near him. Handball to Mitchell, wrong-footed there, and that one goes out of bounds on the forward, Joe.
Thinking it's been a focus of the Cats in the last fortnight on contested ball, because I know early in the season they were just a little bit down in that area, but they're matching the Swans, in fact winning here tonight.
Yeah, Richo, you're certainly right there. The first, I think, 4 weeks, nearly the worst in the competition, if not worst, 17th in the comp. Last couple of weeks been much better at it, and against Sydney you have to be good at it. Great contested mark by Josh Walker there, but they've certainly got better, and they've got the players that they want around the ball who are capable of matching the best in the contested ball as well.
Comes Mitch Clark. He hasn't really got near it in terms of marking tonight. Mitch Clark, Teddy Richards off the side of the boot gives Geelong a real opportunity here in a nice spot for them to attack if they can win some clean possession, and they do. Thurlow throwing it out the back door. Motlop didn't get the bounce he'd hoped for. Now Parker's there to save the day. Keeps the arms free. Didn't handball it or kick it. Free kick going the way of Motlop.
That's a great play from Stephen Motlop. He kicked the last goal, and then real game-changing tackle that. He's got an option he likes. I'm not sure that the players around responded. I think he wanted Gregson to come at it. The Swans players reacted a little earlier, and that was McVeigh. Here's Kurt Tippett. He's back out there, which was a real positive for the Swans, and they need him to start having an impact in this game. He hasn't yet. The Glenn started with the tagging role on Joel Selwood, and now appears to have been released from that. Kieran Jack, they're going to go inside 50. Parker's down there. Blitzars. Oh, well done, Parker. He just kept his eye on the footy with players coming back the other way.
That was a tough ball to mark, that one.
Great take, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's have a look at this again.
He was running flat out with pressure from Blitzars, and he knew that he was going to cop one when he marked it as well. Did well. Great mark.
Well, attacked Tom Lonergan then, but he was just trying to get out of the way.
Just minding his business, Tommy, wasn't he? Parker spent a lot more time forward, it feels like, in his first half, and they've been rewarded with a couple of goals. 3 in the first half would be an outstanding return. He's a beautiful set shot kick. It's goal for goal here. Luke Parker's got 3.
Having a massive night, Luke Parker. Seems to get better every time you watch him play. In the last 18 months, this man, he's an elite A-grade player now. And if you can go into half-time with 13 or 14 touches and 3 goals, you're having a really good night. A real win there for the Swans. Parker spending a lot of time forward. It was a good kick by Jack too. Perfectly weighted into that space. And he's a beautiful shot at goal. It hasn't looked like missing his 3 set shots tonight.
Well, he's only kicked 4 once before. He hasn't quite got there yet, but he's well and truly on his way. 4 each in the first quarter, 4 each in the second quarter. That's the way it's gone here in a very tight game. Tippett head over the footy. Good's trying to slipper it out.
Fine. Stay in
You
again.
can see it's not coming out of there.
It's just a topo, not dangerous. Thank you.
Players questioning the attempts of Adam Goods, and the umpire answering it as it was.
Straight out.
Stanley and Tippett, Selwood in amongst it. Kick back towards the wing. Grundy attack the footy. Goes backwards to Smith. Got time and space here. Opportunity now for Shaw. Can hurt you by foot. Not on this occasion, though. And a mark taken by Mitch Duncan.
Possession number 14 coming up for Mitch Duncan. He's consistently winning the ball. They've got some overlap run here from Stokes. Last played in round 3. This is great ball movement to Gregson. And the NAB Rising Star Award last week. Gregson for a big Friday night game. Kicks to the goal square. They've got a pack down there. Caddy. Almost a half falcon there for Caddy. Sliding through Guthrie. Couldn't get the footy. Parker, who's kicked 3 in the first half. He just cannonballs his way through, but Duncan's in the box seat again. Short chipping kick, looking for and finding Gregson. Had to be perfect, that kick, and he weighted it, and this young man's got it.
Yeah, Mike Pike, that kick around the corner out. Here we go here. The kick around the... I reckon he may have been better off. The Disher handball to McVeigh there. McVeigh had a little bit more time and space to use the footy, and this is the result. When you whack it around the corner, there's normally players out when you chop it off like that.
18 disposals, 3 goals, 2 assists last week. Good enough to earn Corey Gregson that rising star. He was picked 47 in last year's draft. They'd love him to slot that through. He makes no mistake. And they get the quick reply again, the Cats.
A great quarter of footy here by both teams. It's entertaining, goal for goal, and he's a real find. They just keep getting them, Geelong. Great recruiting. They seem to be able to find natural footballers at will down there. And they've had a 5-goal quarter. And he continues to look like a long-term player for the Cats in the last few weeks.
Good style, nice straight leg, got through the footy, enjoyed it the moment it left the boot. For Gregson. So just a 9-point margin as we close in on half-time. Stays in the inner circle, so the umpire's happy with that. The little knockout there from Pike went straight to Buse. He mungled it forward. And now Sydney a little chance to set up here. Kick a little long in the air there. McVeigh had it knocked away. He's going to really have to have a crack. Kirsten working hard. Put his head over the footy then. I think it was Mitch Duncan that was.
And BT, while Geelong continuing to attack there, they have thrown Mitch Clark behind the ball. I think just pretty happy that they don't want to concede a goal in this last minute and a half of the half. Happy to score, of course, but not happy to get one scored against them. So hopefully Mitch Clark will be taking a mark down back if Sydney do attack.
Beautiful conditions here at the moment at ANZ Stadium. I mentioned earlier, record rainfall in April on this venue, the most in the history. And it's recovered very, very well with a reasonably dry week. Here's Parker spinning out of trouble. McGlynn sets him a task. Opportunity here for Mitchell. Had to go and attack it. Blitzards was closing in on him and they box him in.
Straight behind me. Okay, who's got it this time, boys? What's behind me, please?
There you go. That question has been asked just about at every stoppage tonight, Das.
Yes, and I reckon the Swans have really made a point of letting the umpires know, because it has been something the Cats have been doing in recent weeks. John Longmire won't be happy at half-time to allow Geelong to have 17 inside 50s and a real win in the clearances this quarter.
Hey, Richo, you mentioned
the Cats
earlier the scores conceded by Sydney on average are around about 60 points. What was the number?
Yeah, 66. They've nearly got it already.
So the Cats have got 61 in the first half. So I think that's the style that Geelong would have wanted to play. They would have wanted to make this a higher scoring game.
You don't get 17 inside 50s in a quarter against the Swans very often either. So a lot of positives here for Geelong going into half-time.
Stevie J, he delayed the handball, and that was prior opportunity. So Ben McGlynn and he had a few words. Always involved a bit of niggle, and he's tracking Buddy now. Stevie, he had a little look, and it was enough to put pressure on. So Franklin, he sensed that the heat was coming from behind. There would have been a bit of verbal, I'm sure, from Steve. They go back inside 50, under 30 seconds remaining. McVeigh, Franklin tried to force his way through. He did pretty well. All Selwood, Mitchell had a little flinch there. McVeigh, Lloyd eventually under some real duress.
Great pressure here.
Swans defence are able to stand up. They keep coming. Lang, this is great stuff. Hughes gets involved. Here comes Stokes. Grundy has to tumble one forward. And the mark taken there by Mitch Duncan on the half-time siren. So really entertaining first half of football. It's had a bit of everything. It's had some niggle. It's had a bit of Stevie J at his best. He's not happy. He thought he had a chance. So at half-time, it's the Cats leading by 9 points. They're 9-7-61. Swans 8-4, 52. It's a 9-point lead here at half-time. Let's get down to Cameron Ling.
Well, Joey, it's certainly a hard half of footy, and it feels like there's a bit of feeling out there. I mean, both teams so competitive. How have you seen it?
Yeah, definitely got a huge amount of respect, but it's been a really hard-fought game, and a few momentum swings, especially in the contested possession and the uncontested marks. We've got to shut that down a bit with Geelong's ball movement and just clean up a few skill errors coming out of the back line.
Has that been the big concern, the fact that they've had 30 entries in a half of footy? You guys don't normally allow that.
Yeah, that's a big concern. Obviously, we'll address it at half-time and hopefully put in place some things to amend it.
Really appreciate your time, mate. All the best for the second half. Good game of footy so far in the first half here at ANZ Stadium. It's Geelong by 9 points.
But what is good is this game. Sydney and Geelong, third quarter comes your way now.
To the Swans there with our own Cameron Ling as we get this second half underway. Hanbury swings around on the left. Long ball into Tippett. Couldn't get hold of it. Here's Buddy Franklin. Got some help here from Jack. Ducked under the tackle. What about the composure? Jack gets the first. And they're 3 points adrift.
What a great centre clearance for a start. Just get it in there. You get a contest. You see this well worked. Hanbury gets it in. He gets a contest from his key forward. Brings it to the front, and then this here is just a sensational finish. Kieran Jack didn't have much time to sum it up, but that's the start Johnny Longmire would be at after getting it out of the middle.
Well, Richo, talk about following coach's instructions. He just said that he wanted them to get it forward more and not muck around with it as much. Exactly as you said, don't even hesitate, don't even go sideways with it. Get into your forward 50, let your forwards do their work.
It only took 45 seconds, and Kieran Jack, the ideal start of the second half. Duncan, he's a really improved contested player, is Mitch Duncan. He won a really nice centre clearance. Stanley, that's a real up and under job. Gerson, what a great attempt. I thought he had a big piece of it. Rampy kept his feet. And now this experienced Sydney defence, Richards and Grundy, they've played so much footy together now. They combine well, although Jetta, I think, might have, on the second attempt, dragged it across the line, so they'll have a boundary throwing.
So I think they really want to work on their transition in this second half, the Swans, from this situation here to get some fast footy and transition going from halfback.
Pike cleared the little path, dropped it in the spot there for Hanbury. He was just a little wait arriving. It was well done by Mike Pike. Here's Parker. Not sure whether they want to bring it out of there or not yet. Here's the flick out. Franklin's handball partially smothered. Went back and got it again. Have a look how desperate they are to win the footy in there. Eventually it'll bumble its way out here somewhere, or will it? Umpire Hay says, give it to me. We'll throw it up here.
Go back.
Ruckman lock, and there's the third man up, Blitzarves. Down to Caddy. So they haven't been able to really counter that. Grundy with a timely fist there. Little handball back inside from Hanbury was slick. McVeigh, Parker using the hip and shoulder. Blitzarves goes and gets Motlop out of trouble. Now an opportunity for Stokes. Back into the side this week. Beautiful kick. And finds Murdoch, who is a big left foot kick. And probably will get the journey here.
Yeah, great play. Come back into the corridor and had a nice lead up the middle from Murdoch.
Have a look at the run-up. Momentum obviously important in him kicking the footy, and here he goes. From outside 50, kick on the way. It'll be right to the line and a little off as well.
Jetta is going to take the opportunistic kick in and get it moving really quickly. So we heard from Horst Longmire, the coach, when he spoke to him. It was all about this. We're going to move it forward quicker. We're going to get the ball moving, and so far so good. Or bad miss there from Rivers. He normally swallows that sort of intercept mark. And they get away with it in the end. Thurlow came through and was able to clean up the mess.
Yeah, it was just that last kick then. Tippett was on over the back. That was a great build-up. Tommy Mitchell actually came off the interchange bench, which really helped that transition. He got the uncontested ball there. Just that final kick let them down.
Pike, he's got a bigger frame. He's better suited to the boundary throwing work than Stanley, and he worked his way in front. Basically do it all again from the same spot. So slow play here. You get a really good look at the Cats defence trying to organise themselves. There's one-on-one contests everywhere. There's a lot of numbers back. Hanbury tried to burst his way out of some tackle pressure. Jack started the second half with a real bit of impact. Tippett, hands on the footy. Stevie J's clearing kick.
Holding Geelong's arm. Yep.
So it's Gregson. The umpire couldn't quite work out which player it was, and it was Greg. So I have that problem sometimes too, Dale.
We all do. They're generally pretty good, the umpires.
Yep.
Only 7 games for Corey Gregson, so still working out who he is.
If you've just joined us too, Tom Hawkins was a late withdrawal in this game, and he was replaced by Josh Walker. Heard the umpire's call there. It was clear, so they've got to get going when they get it. Richard sneaky little one. Hanbury now. Mitchell involved. Onto Shaw. Shaw thought about the corridor. He was forced wide. Now he straightens him up a little. Opportunity here for Reid. Worked his way to the front, took a mark within his range.
Yeah, nicely done by Reece Short. Didn't rush, sold a bit of candy a couple of times there, and he had 2 targets. He had Reid and then he had Tippett longer. Good separation from your tall forwards. You don't want them marking together. Corey Enright just lost touch there. He didn't know where Sam Reid was and he ducked around.
He likes to feel the body, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He misses the goal, but that was a classic example of that, where a defender loses touch of the forward.
Not a good feeling for a defender when you're not sure where the forward is.
It's a nice luxury, isn't it, when Sam Reid can drift forward and be your third tall forward. Tippett and Franklin and Goods also lurking around.
Still haven't got a mark out of Tippett tonight inside 50. They need some in this second half if they're going to win the game.
Guthrie now, and they've really pressed hard here, the Swans. They've got a great shot of what Guthrie faces. That was really the only option in the end. Rivers and McVeigh. McVeigh, deceptively strong as Jared McVeigh, was able to win a good one-on-one there, and then Kieran Jack, he has really come to light. Franklin swallows these opportunities normally on the run. He can't believe it, buddy. Eyes lit up.
Had too much time, I think, then.
So a bad miss from the champ. He'll be pretty disappointed with that one.
It's kick 2-5 now, buddy. Plenty of shots on tonight.
Enright goes deliberately for the one-on-one here with Mitch Clark. He's got the free. Drew it beautifully, Mitch Clark. Half-back, tries to get it back inside to Kirsten. He marks. He's forced to go back over the mark. Thurlow it is, in fact. Here, Jackson Thurlow in game 15. Now Enright. Blitzarves breaks right. Now, I just want to know, is there a player that you've seen that you can remember that can play in every position on the ground from ruck to rover like Blitzarves? Who comes to mind immediately? Anyone?
Adam Goods, maybe.
Kuda.
Who was that?
Kuda Feedies could play almost anywhere.
Ruck, I'm not sure. But
maybe not ruck, but...
Well, I'm saying everywhere, Richo.
All right.
Don't be a position or two short on me.
Well, I'm trying to throw some names around Bristol.
Adam Goods wanted Brownlow playing in the ruck, which after he injured his knee didn't really play that role again. But
it's not many, though.
Who could play on Scott Pendlebury and do an unbelievable job as a midfielder and then go and take a centre bounce and compete? So
who's leg are we looking at there, Lingy?
That foot there is Mitch Duncan's foot, which is a worry for the Cats. He's had the 17 touches tonight, been in great form. They're checking out that foot, so it's obviously very, very sore. He's got the boot off, the physio on the dock there. Well, if I see anything happening, I will let you know straight away, but looks very sore for Mitch Duncan.
He is of vital importance. He's their leading possession getter tonight, and probably their in-form midfielder for the year, along with Joel Selwood. That one's gone out of bounds on the full. Parker says, come at me. Good stars. A little short, though. He's got Buddy on if he likes. Ignores all of that and goes over the top. Coming from deep is Rowan. Hurt his own man there, and to ground they both go. Kennedy's the other one. Has he hurt his shoulder there, Kennedy?
Oh, he's in a bit of pain there.
Some real damage. Kennedy doesn't normally stay down like this. And so the umpire has halted play here because it's in the way here. Let's have a look. The replay.
Oh, gee, I think...
Punched by Garen, but then he clutches for the shoulder. And he gets back to his feet now, so...
I reckon he's badly winded.
All right, so it looks like he's going to play on, so all is good.
Yeah, some of the courage on display tonight has just been out of this world. Once again, it was just a total commitment from all players. You really have to admire what the current group of players are able to do. Here's Stevie Motley. He read that beautifully. Kick to Mitch Clark. They'd like to get him involved a bit more. He dishes it off to Guthrie. Down in the forward half, Josh Walker's got a lot of space. If the kick's good, he'll take it. Just a millimetre short it was. And Grundy able to get back. Mitchell, he did pretty well under some duress. Richards trying to slap it forward. Walker came through. Laidler. And now Grundy Reid. This will be a big win if they can get free. And Hanbury is going to set them up from half-back.
Yeah, that kick to Walker missed, should have hit, and now the Swans are going to shot on goal.
Glenn can go, short ball here, they've done it. Tippett ends up with a footy. They worked it well.
Yeah, the Cats had great transition happening. Walker worked his defender over beautifully and should have marked on his chest. The ball fell short, and then bang, you go down the other end. Here it is here. Look at the space he had on Grundy. The kick didn't hit, and then the Swans bring it down, and Tippett gets his first mark for the night inside 50. So crucial, that last kick inside 50. If you don't hit it, you can opened them up the other way.
Tippett to put the Swans back in front, and the goal umpire didn't even bother to go left or right. Sydney in front by 4 points.
Yeah, the classic 12-point play there. Josh Walker should have been having a shot on goal. He didn't, and it comes down, and all of a sudden now the Swans are in front by 4 points.
Well, Rich, as you pointed out, Cats streaming forward, bursting inside 50. That is half a centimetre.
It was nearly the perfect kick, because forwards love to slide down low and take the chance.
Can't defend that. Walker would have been lining up for goal. At the other end, though, the Swans make them pay through Tippett. Stokes tried to fend off Jetta. Now in right under some heat, so it's been a good start here, Sydney. They've got the lead back. Harry Taylor nearly had a fresh air shot. Mitchell, slick handball to Parker. He kicked 3 first-half goals. Can he make it 4? It's 3 in a row to the Swans. 10 points is the margin.
He's a star, Luke Parker, an absolute star. And they've had a couple of crucial centre clearances here, the Sydney Swans. John Longmire told Cameron Ling at half-time they needed to get it out of the middle, get it moving forward, quicker, give their forwards opportunities. And they've done that. The last 3 goals. Got a little lead now.
Well, this was a superb goal from Parker. Equals his career high, 4 goals here. That one from beyond the red stripe, representing 50. And he enjoyed every moment of it, and why not? And his teammates loved it as well. Pike in the middle. So now Geelong under some real Sydney pressure here at the moment. They've been able to respond all night. What have they got? Selwood. Who else would you expect to step to the plate in a time of need? Laidler. Reed's found space. Harry Taylor arrived late. Here's Goods in game 356. Got spun on the tackle and he got pinged.
Big tackle.
Geelong's Paul Roos and Bruce Dool on that figure of 356 games in total games played. They're 2 greats of the game, and he's right up with them. And next is John Blakey on 359. So he's at 356 Goods.
You played on the flying doormat in your first game,
My
but
very first game, one of the best halfback flankers of all time, and didn't get a snifter off. Had donuts. Richo, so didn't get much better from there.
I reckon he kept a few players to donuts, Bruce Dool.
There's Gregson, the Gymkhana expert. There's an opportunity with Motlop. That was what he was involved in, I think. Now an opportunity. Parker again, long handball over the top, but he's going to bowl over Enright. Got him in the tackle. Did he have time? Was the ball pinned? All decisions the umpire's got to make, and I think he's made correctly.
Look at Franklin through.
Yeah.
We marvel at what he does at ground level and his commitment to the tackle and his hardness at the footy. He's a complete player. Selwood, he's sensing that they really need a lift, and that Champ just finds a way to deliver almost on every occasion. Stokes, can they respond here, the Cats? It's a big time in the game for them. The first 3 goals have gone the Swans' way in the second half. Richards is able to work Walker under the footy. They go inside 50, looking for Tippett, who was quiet in the first half, bounced off the head of Rivers. Thurlow back there, big tackle he laid earlier that was the goal-saving one. Mitch Clark's working hard in defence. The Walker and Richards direction again. Here's Jetta. Able to put the leg speed down when required. That's a risky kick. They might make them pay here. Here comes Kirsten. What can they do with it now? Gregson had to go back, not a lot forward, so they're going sideways. They link up through Caddy. It's a good sweeping handball to Blitzarves, little left footer. Gregson, he's going to have to do well. They're really good hands. It sat in the air. Shaw had a chance to spoil, and he did really well, Corey Gregson.
Yeah, he did. Really good hands from a, I guess, smaller player, small forward. He gets to the right spots, though. He leads to the right spots. Seems to be a bit of a natural in that half-forward role.
Saw a tweet at half-time saying with regard to his hair, that someone's had the set squares on it for Gregson. I think that's a little unfair myself, Richo.
Yeah, a little bit harsh.
Former Australian national junior gymnastics champion, we found out tonight, and that one out of bounds on the full, so not his best effort.
Guys, just an update quickly from the bench here from Geelong. Mitch Duncan came back out in the ground just for a minute or so to test out that foot, but he's come straight back off the ground. Obviously not happy with the way that foot felt. Sam Blee's doing a lot of warming up as the sub for Geelong. I wouldn't be surprised if they made the move.
Looks sawdust, didn't it?
It really worries you, doesn't it, when you see feet, you think stress fracture, and that horrible word navicular comes to mind as well.
Reece Stanley just shanked it a little bit inside, and Grundy was able to lunge and mark. So Duncan down to the rooms. Lingy, you'll keep an eye on that. And the sub warming up in Sam Blee's game 1 at Geelong for him. Laidler, Grundy, Shaw, backs up, composure was good. Laidler, likewise. That's what the modern footballer is really good at. Composure under pressure. Up they fly. Parker's doing it all tonight. Pike out to Mitchell. Mitchell a little floater. Got to go Parker, and he's absolutely everywhere. Gary Rowan wants to go. Parker into the middle. It wasn't the greatest of kicks. Blitzarves can cut it off. Can Smith make him fumble it and cough it up? No, he can't. Did well, Blitzarves to Stokes, and eventually they forced the turnover.
Big Stokes.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? Return his return game, and hasn't played since round 3. He looks fit, doesn't he? He looks like he's ready to play.
He's always known how to find the footy. Stokes up to 18.
How good was that kick from Jetta? It was a 45-metre dart straight into the arms of Mitchell. Mitchell couldn't quite connect with Buddy. So what have we got? 8:43 remaining in the third quarter. Have a look at this bullet, Richo. Wouldn't you like to lead to that?
That's what you want. Absolutely.
I feel like this is a really, really big moment in the game now with that amount of time remaining in the third quarter. The Swans have done all the scoring in this third quarter. They've got some space to read. This is a dangerous ball. You can hear that by saying touch play on. And Wright was pretty happy to hear that. And they're going to concede and get a chance to regroup here, the Cats defence.
Lonigan not wanting to kick it back in. Gives the ball up to Thurlow.
Guys, unfortunately, Mitch Duncan's obviously no good. Sam Blee's taking the green vest off. They'll hand the red vest to Mitch Duncan when he comes back from the change room. But Sam Blee's coming onto the ground now, so Mitch Duncan definitely subbed out. 33 games for the Demons for Sam Blee's. He's first for the Cats.
Yeah, top of the shot there, you can see him just coming in towards the middle of picture there now, Sam Blee's.
Number 12 for the Cats.
In his first game for the Cats, as Lingy mentioned. High over the top, no win. Rivers said, boundary line's my friend here. And he disguised it beautifully. There he is, Sam Blee's, and he's been on the puffer weights. I think he might have been on the bench press, Richo, by the looks of him.
A few beats. He's never hurt anyone, Brian. Don't worry about that. He's got real pace, Sam Blee's.
He's lightning, Richo.
That's the strength of his game.
Beautiful knockdown from Tippett to Hanbury. Attacking the footy is Rivers. Geelong have got 3 there. They can raffle it. Guthrie now has got to work this kick with perfection, but he kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Some players like the beach weights a little more than others, Brian.
Yeah. Well, you were famous for them.
No way. Just core stability work.
Anyone spring to mind, Richo? Anyone you want to name? Any teammate?
What about the push-up king, Jakey King?
Yeah, he loves the beach. He's the push-up.
Harry Taylor set himself for that, and timely fist.
Although he can't run anymore, the push-up king, and he's just doing weights, and he's almost as wide as what he is tall at the moment.
He's as big as a house to push up.
He's like a square with arms and legs.
The brick with eyes, Glenn Lazarus. He's got a bit of that about him. Push up, had his big toe fused, hasn't he?
Yeah, so he can't run, unfortunately.
Mitchell emerged with the footy. Hughes, he generally gets the most dangerous small forward. He's had some big jobs, Jed Hughes, so far this year. They really rate his ability to play on the guns. Gary Rowan gives chase. Good defensive pressure, but they worked it pretty well. And out at half-back, Jared Rivers has got hold of the footy.
It's Gary Rowan just getting back to his feet there. Umpire Hayes says it's time to go, and so he does sideways to Lonigan. Lonigan carefully bouncing through that centre half-back region. Not much on. Sydney doing a good job at forcing Geelong wide here at the moment and not giving them the corridor. Selwood, and it takes a brave man to try and make that kick right there. And you can see what happens if you don't. Now Hanbury, and gives it to Goods. And Goods has taken a mark.
Just starting to find too many targets inside 50 now, the Swans. Just a little bit of that pressure's dropped out of the Cats game. If you don't continue to pressure up this Sydney team, they'll find targets inside 50. So much talent down there.
This for the biggest lead of the game. This would be 4 consecutive Swans goals. Bending back, bending. Not enough, but a 12-point margin here for Sydney, closing in on 3/4 time.
Cam Guthrie still got the short sleeve on too, boys.
Well, you told us that it was all sorts of reasons why he'd change it to a longie.
Well, Lingy said it was true, but he's let us down tonight.
It must be a little bit warmer up here in Sydney than it is down in Geelong, Richo.
That's it. It's cold down in Geelong, Lingy.
So free kick going Harry Taylor's way. I feel like Lingy, that last kick from Selwood is still what they need to do. It didn't quite come off, but they need to be bold, I feel, Lingy, if they are going to win this game away from home.
You're right, Das. It is. It's important to be brave, but I reckon there's a time between being brave and being a little bit crazy. Kicking to one player, Corey Gregson, smaller player amongst 3 Sydney players. Maybe that's not the time you do it. You take a safer one and you look for the next time you can get into the corridor.
So the Swans have got a real bit of momentum at the moment. Franklin storming through inside 50. Really well done, Jed Busey. Got a hand in from an awkward position and saved a goal, I feel, there. Now under more pressure, the big Canadian Pike. He's going to hand it off to Jack. Jack, they've got numbers everywhere. And Luke Parker unselfishly is going to play on to Kennedy. He's got 4 already, Parker. He could have gone back and lined up for 5, but Joey Kennedy was in a better spot.
Guys, this is a perfect example of perceived pressure. Corey Enright there, just the wild, nothing handball straight back to Sydney to Mike Pike, and that sets up this shot at goal for Josh Kennedy. It's because of Sydney's quality pressure in this quarter that forced Corey Enright to do that handball.
They've really come out and dominated this 3rd quarter. This will be a body blow for the Cats. Joey Kennedy, highly skilled player, shouldn't miss, and he has. So, well, that takes the air out of the Sydney Sails for a moment.
Little poker there, Das.
Yeah, uncharacteristic.
Certainly is. They've dominated this quarter. 14 inside 50s, 8 shots on. Just their inaccuracy costing them here. Leaving the game open for the Cats if they can get something going again.
Football in from Enright too, please.
You've had another nomination for your player that can play anywhere, Brian.
Yeah, who's that?
Witter Westhoff from Port Adelaide. He's played all over the ground.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a Twitter nomination.
Okay. Good.
Didn't give me much on it.
No. Well, he is one.
I'm not sure the Hoff would play on Scotty Pendlebury in the midfield.
Yeah.
Very flexible.
Yeah.
What about Matty Pavlich?
Not in the ruck, Das. I don't think Pav. He can clutch hit down forward if he has to, but not full time in the ruck. Here's an opportunity for big Mitch Clark over the top, so I guess you're having a bit of trouble finding one. Here's Jed Hughes over the line out of bounds.
Just a pinch hit for Matty Pavlich down forward.
Well, as a ruckman, yeah. But he's not your stand-up 197 sort of operator, is he?
He's been a fair player.
No, it has nothing to do with his playing. It's about playing all positions.
You just discarded him with it.
He's a star and he's the best ever out of there, but I'm not sure ruck was his go.
He loves Saturday night footy too.
3:51 remaining here. Sydney by 13 points. Pike positioning here, 3rd man up again. Blitzarves, the play anywhere man. Kennedy, traffic Jetta, let it go. Saw Selwood coming at him. Now Guthrie got the outside runner and Stevie J didn't get it. Went the little squeeze trigger ball and found Lang. Lang within range, I would have thought.
He just needs to settle now. He did the right thing, looked for some targets inboard. Now he's got to go back and kick the goal.
Darcy Lang for his 5th career goal. 45-degree angle. You can see it there. And there's virtually no wind tonight, Lingy. Still no wind down there, I assume.
None at all, BT. Perfect night.
Yeah, it is a great night. Really mild night up here in Sydney tonight. Lang from just inside 50. That will not get back. So 12-point margin, 2-goal lead to Sydney with 3 minutes remaining in the 3rd.
Geez, the Cats would love to pinch one late here just to make that man there feel a little bit more nervous. They might get an opportunity here. It was a poor kick in. And this is Josh Walker. You can tell his eyes are darting around. He wants to see if he can centre this one. Stevie J's lurking. Stevie's going to say, give it to me. So he sets it up. Dangerous position. Parker's done everything tonight. Kicked 4 goals. Been incredibly brave. They clean it up. Might come back, though, again. Clark, one-handed pick up from Corey Enright. He was immediately dumped by Goods. It spills out to Rowan. Goods got back to his feet. Stolen, though, by Thurlow. Now an opportunity. Gregson, Stevie J. He loves this situation, Stevie. This is the goal the Cats need. And Stevie J delivers. Back to 6 points.
A big goal from Stevie J. And after a dominating third quarter from the Swans, they haven't been able to put the Cats away. And if you look at all the numbers, you'd say they should be 3 or 4 goals up going in to 3/4 time. They're not. And they've hung in here, the Cats. And they'd be happy with the scoreboard at 3/4 time.
Really good goal here from Stevie J. The Gregson handball set it up, and a quality finish. Never in doubt. And John Longmire scratches his head in disbelief. So close to 3/4 time. And that'll be another ball up in the middle. A rare one tonight. We haven't. I think that's the first one we've seen. Done a good job, the umpies. Stevie J.
He just looks a little frustrated, John Longmire. 8 shots to 3 this quarter. Haven't been able to put them away.
Magnificent ruck work to Parker, and Guthrie with the body work on Kennedy was impressive as well. So sticking down to 2 minutes, got to come at the footy there. Thurlow, and he does. Now wide to Buse, so just the kick around at the moment for the Cats, and they feel they can open them up through the middle. Clark. Scott Blitzarves to his left as the bailout, if he can find no else. Goes down the line, high footy. Kirsten underneath this. Harry Taylor there as well. Did well, Harry Taylor. Both dukes on it, couldn't get it. Rushing through the pack was Parker. He's been full on tonight. Here's Blees. Look at the neat little sidestep. And then the driving footy. Got to do it here, and he does. Mike Pike. Hands on it. Stanley there as well. So Stanley has taken Mike Pike very deep for these last couple of minutes.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good move. I think Mike Pike's going to be too comfortable playing at full back. Fortunately for Stanley, just got caught behind. So now they go at it again. Did he almost... could have been a free kick there when you start swinging your opponent out the way. Gregson had the left foot kick at it. Motlop picks it up. He's kicked it, Stevie. Has he? No. So it looked pretty good off the boot. Hit the post in the end. And important moments these. Last minute and 5 seconds of the third quarter, and the Cats have just found a little bit here at a very, very opportune time.
So it'll be interesting to see when the ball goes the other way, when they stick with the Mike Pike and Stanley in the square. Here's an opportunity for Jack. Got it into a dangerous position. Or Tippett ran over the top of it. Blitzarves went and got it. Stevie J says, do I give it to Reese? Reese spent it before he'd earned it. Recovered it though. Really did well. Thurlow crashing through in the middle is guess who? Parker. Stevie J steady. Enright, good handball. Guthrie had to recover a difficult bouncing ball. He threw it out. That's against him. 30 seconds left. There's time for Sydney here. There is time for Sydney. This will suit them. It's almost like in the basketball, the one last play. Players tell him to go deep. The runner says go deep. Franklin rises. Got a second bite on it. The fend off from Jack. Comes to Jetta. The desperation smothered from the Cats. Now Kennedy. 10 seconds and counting here. Mitchell over to Shaw. One last opportunity. I'm not sure Mike Pike will go the journey. He gets onto the barrel and did well there. Really did well. Mitch Clark. And players lying down everywhere here. A great quarter of footy.
How good is this game? It has got everything, Richard. There's courage, there's acts of just unbelievable bravery. We've got a grandstand finish coming up.
Sydney by 5 points. 11-9-75. Geelong 10-10-70. Beautiful night in Sydney, here it was. Controversy early. Who's the ruckman? The umpire inquired several times. Johnny Longmire's not sure. Blitzarves got the benefit of all. There was niggle, there was push, there was prodding, there was even a bit of knick-knack, knock-knack. Call it what you want. It certainly hurt Jared McVeigh. Geelong led by a point at quarter time. Into the second quarter, Selwood, as you would expect, drags that professional free there and nails the goal. But it was 50-metre penalties that cost Sydney. Here, two of them very, very similar, resulting in Geelong goals. And at half-time, it was Geelong by 9 points in a really tight game. Then Sydney basically dominated the third quarter, except the scoreboard doesn't say that. They kicked goal after goal, 3 in a row in the opening stages here. Parker continued his brilliance. And at three-quarter time, 11-9-75 to the Cats, 10-10-70.
Attention please. Watch movie after movie, episode after episode of the world's most popular shows. Get more choice. Go to presto.com.au for a free 30-day trial.
Okay, let's get down to Cameron Ling. And Lingy, you've got an update on Mitch Duncan.
Well, I do have an update. Of course, he was subbed out in that third quarter with a sore foot. You can see him on the bench sitting there with the red vest on. He's icing up his right foot. He's on the crutches, so straight away the medical staff got him on the crutches to take the weight off that foot, but doesn't look very happy at all. I'm sure they'll take him for scans as soon as they get back to Geelong tomorrow. He hurt his foot in this bit just here, probably got twisted underneath Jared McVeigh there. He was subbed out, Sam Blease came on, but he's in such good form and looks really uncomfortable on that right foot, so not good news at all from the Geelong bench, but we don't know exactly what it is yet. We'll find that out as soon as they have those scans.
Yeah, let's hope it just twisted his foot and it's not any stress-related problem for Mitch Duncan. He's been a fantastic player this year in career best form. Sam Blease gets an opportunity. First clearance, Guthrie handed it back over his shoulder, fisted forward there by Blitzarves. Gregson attacked the footy well. Nick Smith back, the All-Australian defender from last year. I might be coming out. So
the last two quarters, the team going the way that Geelong are in this quarter has dominated the inside 50s.
Selwood almost got free. It was a McGlynn finger in the end that just put him off his kick, and now it spills out the back and an opportunity for Walker. He couldn't quite, he probably had a bit more time. So an opportunity missed there for the Cats.
Back to 4 points as Jeddah moves the ball swiftly, beautifully front and centred there by McVeigh. Just a real professional setup. And here's the racehorse, Gary Rowan. He just looks over his shoulder. Gee, that's tough. Oh, no. Shoot. Oh, no.
First thought was he didn't look like he'd gone too far there.
That can't be right. Gee. They look very, very evenly distributed, those two spaces. Now an opportunity for Blease. Docked it up to Sydney, win it back here now and open them up through the middle in McGlynn. McGlynn a little time to squirt one around the corner. The one-hander for Parker. He plays on immediately. He's got McVeigh on the run here. Needs a good sit, doesn't get it. Let's just have a look at the bounces here. There's the bounce. And there's the other bounce, and I don't see what's wrong with that.
Is it possible the umpire didn't see the first bounce? I think he actually didn't see. Look at Horst Longmire. That isn't. He missed the first bounce, I think.
He had 12 steps on in between the first and the second bounce.
I reckon they've been good tonight, but I just think that one is really tough.
Yeah, just a mistake. I agree that the umpire's done a great job tonight, but well, that has to be a mistake. There's no
he would have kept going there, Rowan, too, Dust.
He was out, wasn't he?
He had space in front of him.
Second bounce set up perfectly. He was going to pin the ears back. So a little let off there for the Cats. Here's Franklin in space. Capable from there. He made pretty good connection with it across the goal square, and Rivers went back to the flight, read it really nicely. Taylor under pressure. It's a beautiful kick. Look at that. Perfectly weighted for Jed Hughes. Mentioned earlier, Jed Hughes, he's played on Ballantyne, he's played on Rioli, gets a lot of big jobs. Half forward now. Kirsten, it was a good strong tackle. Out the back, McVeigh wants it. Little toe poker. Selwood stretched his arms up. McGlynn, full-chested. McVeigh, high-quality game this one. The tackle pressure, look at the effort. Everything's under duress as the kick comes forward from Lloyd. Tipper did really well. He burst the pack open. Parker's had an enormous game. He's kicked 4 goals. Handball in the direction of Kennedy. Blees, the sub, first game for the Cats, he did pretty well. And they'll be happy if that one slides over for a boundary thrown, although he might be able to get back to Jetta, and he does.
And he does, yes. Tidies it up, and now back inside to McVeigh. It'll go to Jetta. Probably should have in the end. McVeigh turned the wrong way, went boundary and had nothing on. Now it's up to Grundy. Sold some foot candy beautifully. Driving footy, up they fly. Winner in the air is Parker. The Guess Who man of the night. He's doing it everywhere and every time. And he's kicked for, and this for a career high 5 goals. And a timely goal it would be.
He's a good mark. He's a really good mark for a non-ball player.
Really trying to find his composure there. And he loves that spot, doesn't he? Have a look at it. That's where he is. 3 straight from the set shots from this position. Kick on the way is just not going to work for him. Although Buddy just stood there and marked it on the chest. Tom Lonigan can't believe it.
Buddy just trying to con 3 or 4 metres there, BT. The umpire will wake up to that.
Look at Tom Lonigan shaking his head in disbelief and creeping a metre or 2 over the mark as the umpire was looking the other way. Oh, you're an old pro, Tom. Now, Buddy, don't worry about those guys on the left. Just line up for your normal set shot.
I think he's thinking about running around him, wanting to snap it.
So Franklin, look at Stevie J pointing it out. Says he can't go on the arc, but Buddy nails the goal. Sydney by 10 points.
Well, Buddy kicked 3 goals, 5 tonight. Not sure how he marked that one. Tommy Lonigan couldn't believe it either. I don't think Lonigan thought it was going to get over the initial pack. And he's just marked it on his chest. We'll have a look at that in a second. And they're all a little bit bemused by that mark, but that gives the Swans a handy little break again. So here we go. There's the long mongrel in, and those ones there, Buddy nearly tripped over to start with. And it's just fallen into his arms. That's why Lonigan couldn't believe it.
3 goals to Franklin. Pike took it out of clean air and hacked it forward. Reid trying to find a way through, dropped the footy in and under as Mitchell. No surprise about that, Pike. That was a clever little handball back to Lloyd. It's in good hands here with Jenner. He wants his mate Franklin. Lonigan did really well to take front position. Beautiful front and centre for McGlynn. And he's got down low. Hughes took him high. And little Benny McGlynn played it really well to go back and chance to kick 2 in a row for the Swans.
You called it, Das. Perfect front and centre. He had the perfect position there, and Franklin, who was out of position, did what he has to do. If he's not going to mark it, Buddy, he must bring that down, and he did. And McGlynn hit that with pace, and then very hard to not give a free kick away there.
He's a consistent goal kicker, this man. He scored 20+ goals in each of the past 5 seasons. That one
Easy.
just didn't look good at any stage, did it, Bristle?
No, he just looked really lazy on that, Das. He didn't get through it with a lot of punch and aggression. Just leaned back on it. Would have been the biggest lead of the game. Now Geelong are under enormous pressures. They can possibly turn it over here. Stevie J under pressure. And the boundary line is a good result for Geelong in the end to get out of that. And it's also a good result for Sydney. They're up and about at the moment, Sydney.
I hate to say it again, but that's another clanger handball. Have a look at this. This is a star of the game, Corey Enright. It's a skill that is going by the wayside.
I've got to agree with you on that one. He doesn't make that mistake very often.
Hanbury centering ball. Opportunity views out the back.
I'm onto something.
Stokes. Was it deliberate? Umpire makes the call and says no. He was slung in the tackle and he got rid of it. Didn't matter in which direction. And here's the tackle. Good. Perhaps with the replay, it looked a little more obvious. All falls short from the boundary umpire then. Didn't get to the ruckman. Gee, Mitchell almost threw it out the back door now. Gives it to McVeigh. That's bending the right way. That's a goal. I think it's gone over the line. He touched it after the line, I reckon. Let's have a listen.
I believe the ball is a goal. I want to confirm that it wasn't touched before the line.
Score review. Umpire's call is a goal. Please check it wasn't touched.
And I want to say to that umpire, you've got it right, young man. Don't doubt yourself. Hard to tell from that one. but it's easy to tell from that one. This will be a goal.
All clear.
Beautiful spinning ball from McVeigh.
Well, it's going to be tough now for the Cats, but we know they can do it. They're a great team. That is such a hard kick from that man there, Jared McVeigh, in his 250th game. To get, firstly, to get the distance on a ball from that far out, but then to get it spinning correctly and through. Degree of difficulty very high there. Fantastic goal.
174 career goals, and that one of his finest. High degree of skill to bend it around with that sort of pressure. He knew it was home, Jared McVeigh. Biggest lead of the match this now, 17 points. The Cats simply have to kick the next goal. Caddy.
Hi, Caddy. Hi. Stay there, Tom.
So Reece Stanley wants it out wide. Caddy decides that long and straight is the order of the day. Nick Smith said himself, well taken there by Murdoch. Tumbling, floating, helicopter-style kick to the pocket. Kept in by Kirsten. Stevie J. Wanted the miracle goal, Stevie. Oh, and there might have been a little bit going on. He loves the little Stevie, doesn't he? He just can't help himself.
Guys, just quickly, Sydney have made their sub. Dean Towers, the man who's just about to mark the footy, comes onto the ground. Jake Lloyd is the bloke who's been subbed off.
Okay, Lloyd off. Towers on. Towers with the footy to Smith. Plenty of time here for the Cats, but they can't afford, as Dar said, to concede the next one. Now, Goods has got space here. This next kick from Kennedy still in space. He's at half forward. Gee, the kick's close to the line. Goods now able to work it forward. Beautiful kick to Reid on the lead. But he goes back. He says, come on, give it in long, give it in long. Reid goes there now. Buddy backing up. Now he can come at the footy. Off hands, Franklin, pirouette, left foot snapper. He's a star. What about that, the big man? He can do it all. He's kicked four tonight.
What a great goal. But it was really well worked by the Sydney Swans. They brought it around the boundary line. They had an overlap of loose players right around this boundary line. Precise pinpoint play. And then get it into Franklin. I thought the ball could have been released a little bit earlier by Reid. Franklin had space out the back. Didn't need it though. He got the job done.
We had Buddy Cam on this one. Just trained in on one of the absolute greats of the game, and it's a great look at what he does. He wanted it long, Lonergan knew he was in a bad position. What about the spin to get around Stevie Motlop? And you'd almost back him 10 times out of 10 in that situation. Great goal. They have to get moving now. It was well played from Selwood. Stanley's pushed forward. Did well, Tippett. Maybe should have come at the footy a bit sooner, Stanley. In the meantime, Adam Goods presents up, and Sydney crowd here. It's a decent crowd in Saturday night footy at ANZ Stadium, and they are sensing that their side is in pretty good shape here at the moment. Game high 23-point margin.
Well, they've just been able to win the crucial contest more in this second half, the Swans.
Gregson had a little opportunity, but couldn't quite make up the ground, and Reece Shaw now is going to take a little bit of time here.
Shaw just goes backwards, and I just want you to contemplate this for a moment, Jars. If Buddy kicks one more goal, he's halfway to where Tony Lockett finished.
Halfway.
Just halfway. He's such a great player, but how good was Plugger? Halfway to Plugger. If he were to kick one more. Kennedy shrugs the tackle. Round the corner, here he is. Gets down, used the front end as the bulldozer. Still got the handball away to Rowan. Back to Rowan here from Tippett it was. He's going backwards, losing ground. Well done, Geelong. Caddy's involved. They've got to go. It's all or nothing now for the Cats. But Jenner responds, puts on the afterburners, a bounce and belts the footy. But misses right. And Tippett a little slow getting up.
How good is it to have players like that in your team? The Swans have got two, Jetta and Rowan, guys that can just put the ball under the arm and just burst clear out of traffic. It's such an important weapon to have in your team.
But Sarves did really well in the one-on-one there with Kennedy, and they sensing the urgency. Here's Sam Blees. He's got great leg speed. He worked his way through the corridor. Walker. Tippett's having a time in the ruck. Darcy Lang, Motlop. Decided a quick boot to ball was the option. Nick Smith went back with courage. Stanley upended him. Laidler fed a little handball to Grundy. And they are right on top at the moment here, Sydney. Shaw was looking in the corridor, then decided against it. Hanbury, he gets smashed from behind, Enright. Enough on the spoil to end over for boundary throwing. He's going to have enough time, buddy. He's got about 8 more years left on this contract. If he stays sound, he's got enough.
He's got time on the contract.
He's got the opportunity there. But that is interesting, isn't it? Halfway to the great Tony Lockett. Murdoch want to defend on Kieran Jack. Not many get through the Kieran Jack tackle. Well played, Grundy.
Breaking point here for Geelong. If Sydney to have scored another one, she's all over, I reckon. And you get the feeling for the Cats as well that that's exactly the way they're playing. They've got enough, but they must kick the next one. Here's an opportunity for Walker. Backed out of the pack. Blees has got to go. McVeigh, the 250 gamer, put his nose over the footy and won a hard one. And now an opportunity for Parker. Beautiful kick and a downfield ball to Kennedy. Kennedy backs up, thinks about the little sideways one. But he's wanting it in the space. He's pointing to the space. And that's exactly where it went. Need to get the jukes out, buddy. Don't like telling you too much because you're an absolute superstar. But get the jukes out in front. And we'll throw it in. In fact, a free kick going Geelong's way here in defence.
How good is Lonigan, though, just getting a fist in there at those balls? Franklin tried to take it on his chest, but Lonigan, he's always there. He's a great defender.
I reckon Tom Lonigan would have been watching last week. He would have seen it would have been embarrassing for Buddy to kick goals. You don't want him goalless the week before you play.
Tell you what, they won't be putting donuts in his locker this week. It'll be cold nuggets.
He was always going to respond. Having said that, he was still pretty solid last week. So now it's really through the corridor stuff from the Cats. They know the next goal has to be theirs. Motlop, and he's pulled the trigger. Missed his mate Stevie J, and Nick Smith couldn't believe his luck. Through the corridor, this is Ben McGlynn. Wide Kennedy, Selwood looks around and says, who's coming at me? And now they've just lost concentration here, the Cats defence. Hanbury, he's got McVeigh short. Game 250, well done, Caddy. Did really well to Selwood. Guthrie, Stevie J wants it. He should have given it, Cam Guthrie. McGlynn wrapped him up, play on's the call. Hanbury, Reid on his own. Can Taylor get there? He did pretty well, Harry Taylor. Picked up by Goods, over the top, Towers the sub. He's quick too, back to Goods. Sweeping handball into the corridor. Gary Rowan, he gets booked the ball. He'll kick the goal. That's just about the game. 30-point margin.
Yeah, they're swarming now. They're all over the Cats. It's out to a 5-goal lead. Gary Rowan hits the scoreboard, and they've had plenty of goal kickers tonight, and that's such a key. But 9 goal kickers, 4 to Parker and 4 to Franklin. That's a pretty big spread, and that's hard to stop. He did do well here, Harry Taylor, but they just had too many numbers. Got more numbers at the contest. And handball on the left from Goodsey. Didn't hit the target perfectly, but got the job done.
No, you don't listen to me a lot, Richo, but I did say at the start of the game, if Sydney score more than 100 here, they were 15 of 15. Well, guess what? They've scored 101, and they're going to be 16 of 16, Richo. I want you to listen next time and react.
I liked it. I did like your numbers that you did, Brian. You worked hard on those during the week. And you're right, you're spot on. They're going to win the number 16 in a row.
And you're pretty happy with yourself.
Well, Hughes with the sore arm on. I have got a smile on the dial. There's Guthrie, a boy out of the Calder Cannons footy factory with Kitey and the boys down there. And Laidler, who is out there as well for Sydney. He is also from the Cannons TAC Cup team. Here's Blees, the activated sub tonight. He's kicked that really wide, and that'll be touched over the line. So 8 minutes to go. Sydney by 30. Let's see what happened to Buse. Got the kick in the hand from Tippett.
See how kicking in danger.
Yep. Boundary throw in deep here for Geelong. Blitzar's trying to get it out the back to give them some space in that dangerous corridor. He went and got his own footy here. We had another nomination for the player that best suits the way that Blitzar's plays and plays all positions. And Jared Ruffhead, of course, is the modern-day version of Mark Blitzar's.
Yeah, it's a very good call. Whoever
play everywhere.
Sent that one through. He can play every position on the ground. Bit rough, can't he? He's had a massive day today, Big Ruff. Had 30 possessions, kicked 4 goals in their big win over Melbourne. It's a fair day out.
Yeah, he can do anything, Ruffy. Unbelievable player. So he's probably got Blitzar's covered at this stage, but that's the type of player we're talking about, who can go anywhere.
Just done some maths as well. As it currently stands, if Buddy scores 9 goals 7 per game for the next 70 games, he'll join Plugger on the identical number of games and goals. 9 goals 7. So it gives you a fair idea of how good the legend was.
So that's not going to happen. Plugger was unbelievable.
Yeah, it's a record that you think might stand for a long, long time. The
did have a bit,
Tony Lockett
did have a bit more space in 50s, to be fair.
Yep.
Back in the 80s, Brian, you know that.
Yep. Slightly different style of game too, wasn't it? It was generally just kick it long, kick it to a contest, and kick it to Plugger. And
well, he still had the market, and he was playing against some of the greatest fullbacks of all time.
Yes. No, we're not diminishing that at all.
Jack out the back door to Rampy. Rampy with a little up and under ball. I think you are diminishing it. Here's
This bloke here, Luke Parker, he just continues to amaze me. He is one of the best young players, but best players in the competition at the moment. He marks the footy, he finds the footy in the midfield, and of course he kicks a heap of goals too. He's kicked the 4 tonight. He's a gun.
What about the numbers? You mentioned the 4 goals, 27 possessions, 642 metres gained for Luke Parker on the night.
He's taken 9 marks as well.
So you said he's a complete player, and the courage, you just can't believe what he's done in terms of backing back with a fly to the footy tonight, Luke Parker.
It's just been a weight of numbers tonight across the board. It's gradually worn the Cats down in the second half. They're spread through the middle. Kennedy, Hanbury, Mitchell, Parker, McVeigh. They've all had, upwards of 25 disposals. Just an even spread through the midfield.
I don't think Geelong's lost any fans tonight. Certainly not me. I think he tried to take on the tackle there, Matty Stokes, and that was Parker who does it all, and he wants to rub a bit of Matty Stokes' nose in it.
Okay, Matthew. Okay, let's go now. Daniel, stay out of it. Oh.
So the Swans just flexing a bit of muscle here late. They know this game's in hand, and Luke Parker would have a nice feeling about his contribution. Long ball in, Tippett stuck a boot out, trying to fend off a play. You got to remember, Mitch Duncan was probably their best player on the ground. We saw him go off with a nasty foot injury. Comes back to Nick Smith. They lost Tom Hawkins late as well, so they played with a bit of restriction. Here is Parker. He deserves a bag of 5 tonight. Go back and kick it. He's unselfish. He's still having a look around, but it'd be a worthy return.
Yeah.
Well, the man on screen that Cameron Ling has just been talking about, he's the best and fairest winner from last year.
Deserves 5.
Set shot goal kicking has been very nice as well. There it is. 5 goals for Parker. No. Thurlow got...
I believe the ball is touched. Yep. Can we just confirm it had not crossed the line?
Please check the ball wasn't over the line.
He's in
Score
perfect
review
position.
underway.
That goal umpire. Have a look at the position he's got on the left there. He's done well. He's called it well tonight, that umpire.
Very rarely see these overturned. Once the umpire makes a call, but that angle's not going to help us.
So get rid of that one, boys. Move on.
Score review complete. Umpire's call.
Touch.
So no goal to Luke Parker. A little disappointed. Career high was on the offering there.
Well, you couldn't possibly overrule those ones unless you've got a camera right on the goal line, and we don't have that at every ground.
Jack to Hanbury. Hanbury looking to go inside. McGlynn got down and collected it with beautiful, clean hands. Opportunity for Goods, bundling it out. You get the feeling that Goods really playing for his life out there. He's doing everything, and I've got to say, he's still doing everything for the team, and nothing's been about him. It's all been for the team as Mitchell marks. 4 1/4 minutes remaining. How have you seen, Richo, Adam Goods' game tonight and this year generally?
I think he's doing the job required of him tonight inside forward 50. He's played mostly down there all night, and he's had a dozen touches. He's kicked a goal, and he gave a couple away. So that's a solid night if you're down in amongst that forward 6.
Mitchell's first goal of the year, right there. 37 points.
We're really pulling away now, the Swans. Just go on about the depth they have through the midfield. They've now got 4 players over 30 possessions. Tom Mitchell just joined Parker, Hanbury and Kennedy.
I think I said his first goal, in fact his second goal, Richard.
So Kennedy's kicked a goal, Mitchell's kicked 2, McVeigh's kicked a goal, Jack's kicked a goal.
So 2 goals for Mitchell there. You can see the crowd probably around the 28,000-29,000 mark, I would have thought, here tonight. Sydney games ahead coming up. Hawthorn, Carlton, Gold Coast and North, all in the next month before they lead up to the bye in round 12. Hawthorn, Carlton, Gold Coast and North. That's for Sydney over the next month.
Kieran, a metre.
Yeah, they've really put the foot down in the second half. 8-1 for the Swans have scored the second half so far as Stokes.
And tonight, Das, it's been just as rock solid a professional performance as you could hope for from Sydney. They were challenged early, Geelong, very good in the first half, but they responded in the way that Sydney do so well. They kept playing the same strong, tough, defensive pressure footy, but they were also prepared to take the game on, move it forward really quickly, give their forwards a chance, and their second half has been outstanding. They've blown Geelong away now in the contested possession.
I reckon Lingy, it started last week against Melbourne. They had a back-to-basics game.
They did.
Righto, we're just going to play this on its merits.
Yep.
Back to basics and now starting to surge forward in this game here tonight.
And in the end, winning contested ball tonight by 21, which is a dominant display. It was even at half-time. That's how good they've been.
Yeah, it's when Kennedy, Hanbury, Parker, Mitchell. And there is Hanbury, really got on top. This is Towers, starting sub. Tom Mitchell, he's got a free man. And it's really a bit of a procession now. This will be 5. This will be career high for Luke Parker. What a game from that man.
What a game, all right. If you can have 30 and 5, I think you've had a good night, haven't you?
Fairly solid day's work, Richo, man.
That's outstanding. He reads the play so well. I watched the build-up to that play, and he just knows how to find space out the back. So he's a natural type forward as well. But he just racks up the numbers.
So they're the matches to come for the respective teams and coaches there. Geelong, Carlton, West Coast, Essendon and Port Adelaide, possibly the slightly easier month ahead, although West Coast in some good form. Port, Essendon, tough for them.
They've got a trip to Perth coming up. The Cats, they then go to Adelaide Oval to play Port Adelaide. Then after the bye, they go back and they play the Adelaide Crows. So had a pretty challenging few weeks coming up, the Cats.
Looking forward to next Saturday night, Hawthorn and Sydney.
Saturday night footy.
Can't wait for that one.
Yeah. Continues, Richo.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that. Rampy off the back, as you say. And good tackle by Gregson. And he will get a look for goal. He's been chance solid tonight in the last 2 minutes here. It's Gregson. Good tackle. And so 43-point margin. Started this 3 minutes into this last quarter. It was a 9-point ball game or somewhere thereabouts. Now it's 43. Gregson for Geelong kicks the goal and it's back to 37.
Well, he's kicked 2 goals tonight to go with his 3 last week. That's great for a young player. So he's found a little bit of consistency already in his game. And the smile there, life's pretty good. First year of AFL footy.
It's one of your great skills, BT. About the second quarter, I said, how many here tonight? And you said about 28,000. You're 6-3 off tonight.
Yes, I'm a little disappointed. I got within 37 last night. So that's pretty good, I would have thought.
Just a slight margin for error there.
Someone will find out one day just how it happened.
How does he do it? He's got something up his sleeve.
Look, I'd watch his phone about the 20-minute mark of the last quarter, Darcy. He always gets a little nibble coming through from the ground manager, I think.
A minute 17 remaining here. Been a very impressive performance from one of the premiership favourites, top 4 favourites, the Sydney. They've done it in a really nice style. Working the angles there, the lovely run, cutting run by Reece Shaw. Now Hanbury goes for a low bullet into Jack. Beautiful pick up on the half volley. Over to Mitchell, back on the left foot. Booming ball to Reed, and he shepherds it through. I don't think it was touched. Well done, Reed, on the shepherd. Mitchell goal. Third goal for Mitchell there. And nicely done by Sam Reed on the line.
So there's the big tackle here from Mike Pike.
Ragdolling him.
He didn't want to let it go, Stevie J. It's come out in the end. Tommy Mitchell's kicked 3 now.
Yeah.
He's had some sort of night as well.
Had 32 possessions to go with it.
Some teams are just crying out for mids who can kick goals. And they got plenty of goals out of their mids tonight, the Swans.
5 out of Parker, 3 out of Mitchell. Kennedy kicked the goal as a mid, and
Kieran Jack kicked a goal. McVeigh.
11 players for Sydney over 20 touches.
But a pretty powerful display from the grand finalist last year. A little bit high on Stevie J. Nothing doing free kick wise. Here's Laidley, be desperate to just cement himself a permanent spot in this side. He played 19 games last year and missed out on the finals action. Split halves. Did well to stand up the tackle to Stokes. Back with a flight, Grundy, and he's been paid the mark.
He's had a good night too. Heath Grundy, centre-half back, really solid. Intercept marked and got plenty of the ball.
So Sydney, the siren will sound, and win number 5 for them. They are 5-2. Jared McVeigh caps off game 250 in fine style by 43 points. Let's get down to Cameron Ling.
Well, I've got the man here, Luke Parker, 31 possessions, 5 goals, career best, an amazing 750 metres game. Now, I don't want any modesty here. You must be happy with your game there.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I guess it was the first start of the year. I've probably been playing a half or 3 quarters and dropping off and coming in and out of games. So I was happy to get a full 4-quarter effort, but that was the thing. Coming into this game, the boys, we wanted that 4-quarter effort, and we brought that. We know they were super hard at the start, and their running, carry and skills were outstanding, and we wanted to get those turnovers, and we knew it would come in the end.
It was a genuine 4-quarter effort, wasn't it? Because Geelong were good in the first half, still within reach at 3-quarter time. But you guys just put the foot down and eventually dominated them around the ball and on the scoreboard.
Yeah, definitely. I think that was the main thing. We wanted to play to our trademark and play the full 4 quarters and not drop off in any quarter. So we've been starting slow, but the main thing was we stuck it with him in the first half, and we know the first part of the year we've been finishing well. So we kept the foot down and a good win.
You're absolutely sensational tonight. Enjoy every minute of it. Well done.
Cheers, mate.
What a game Luke Parker played, and getting some great respect from Cameron Ling. Just one of the games of the year. Simply, he's played 5 goals. We can't stop talking about his numbers. 31 possessions, 748 metres gained, 5 tackles. It's just about the complete game, isn't it, for a midfielder?
Yeah, it is. He had some clearances as well, put the ball inside 50, so 5 goals and put the ball inside 56 times as well. So majority of his play is coming forward of centre, and that's where you want the damage to be done. That is an outstanding game.
He's got the eyes on Lingy. He's working his way through the Swans players, and I think he's got Buddy Franklin with him.
I do have amongst the boys here. Just a really good game, wasn't it? Geelong threw everything at you, but you guys weathered the storm and then went whack back.
Yeah, it was a super contest. We knew we had to play those 4 quarters. It was a tough contest for that 3 quarters, and then we worked our way into it in the last, and we were able to open it up and able to run and then kick out goals, which is really important.
We spoke with the coach, John Longmire, at half-time. He said he wanted you guys to get the ball in forward more and quicker. It certainly helped you guys in the forward line, didn't it? Gave you greater opportunities once it was in there?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you're able to get it inside 50 as quick as possible, it gives the forwards an opportunity to kick a score. So we're able to do that probably in the second half. Not so much in the first half, which is a little bit disappointing, but we come away with a win and look forward to next week.
Just tell the boys no more donuts in the locker now after that one.
No more, mate. No dramas.
Well done tonight, mate. Great job.
Well done to Buddy. Bag of 4 for Buddy and the Swans. Weren't they fantastic in the second half? Just too strong for Geelong. Another big day of footy here on Saturday Live. We're going to wrap it all up coming up. Let's have a look at some of those numbers. The big boys flexed their muscles, didn't they, today with some big wins at the MCG. Hawthorn way too good for Melbourne. A win of over 100 points, the biggest win of the season. That could be challenged by the West Coast Eagles there. As you can see, almost 100 points up over the Gold Coast. That game continuing in the final term. Sydney too good, as we mentioned, for the Cats in the second half. Carlton and GWS, there's going to be plenty of fallout from that game. We'll hear from Mick Malthouse shortly. GWS a couple in a row. They're going for 3 in a row next week. And Adelaide in a match which was marred by some terrible injuries. In fact, the whole round's a big toll of injuries, and we'll wrap all that up coming up soon. Stay with us here on Saturday Live. We'll also look ahead to tomorrow. There's plenty more footy coming your way on Fox Footy. Starting at Etihad, the first up game is between the all-conquering Fremantle Dockers and the much-improved Western Bulldogs. And what about this game? 3 o'clock at the MCG. It's Richmond and it's Collingwood. The Pies smarting after a loss last week. The Tigers desperately need a win. And then it all finishes with Justin Lepich versus Ken Hinkley. Port Adelaide versus Brisbane from the Gabba. Make sure you stay with us. So some exhausted boys after a terrific Saturday night at ANZ Stadium. In the end, the Sydney Swans too good. Jared McVeigh's big game, his 250th, celebrated with a win. They had consistent performers all through the game. Their midfield right back on top, and in the end, too strong in that area. They dominated in the contest, winning that area by 20 over the Cats, 142-120. So it's 5 wins and 2 losses now for the Sydney Swans, and they're right up there towards the top of the ladder. They're all chasing Fremantle, of course. But as I mentioned, the big boys really starting to flex their muscles today. And Geelong were very good for a fair bit of the game. Certainly the first half, they had a lead at half-time of 9 points after a tight first term. But the Sydney Swans just turned the screws in the third quarter, and their class around the contest, their strength around the clearances, too good. Buddy and Luke Parker played a game and a half. What a performance from Luke Parker. They had 61 inside 50s to 48, the Swans. 106 more disposals in total. As I said, 5 goals, 1 and 31 for Luke Parker. Dan Hanbury had 35 disposals, and he had more than 30 for the 4th time this year. And Tom Mitchell, his own personal best, 33 disposals. As we go to the highlights, as we said, game number 250 for one of the most popular players with the Sydney Swans, the co-captain Jared McVeigh, and he had an excellent night in the end. Good struggle early. Franklin gets a set shot away in the first quarter. There's a bit of niggle. Stevie J was usually somewhere around it, and they were trying to get into Buddy Franklin, of course, coming off a goalless game. But Buddy and Tom Lonergan had a really good battle. Buddy inaccurate in front of goal. The Cats were able to move the ball well on occasions. This man, Stevie Motlop, was dangerous. He kicked 2 goals in the first half. And as I said, they had the lead at half-time, but that all changed in the third term. The pressure really cranked up from the Swans, and the Cats found it hard to move the ball out of defence. And gradually the Swans just got on top. This man was pivotal, as we said. 5 goals, an incredible performance from Luke Parker. As he said himself, he hasn't necessarily dominated through the first month or so of play. play. The Cats kept in it. Stevie J was able to get the odd goal or two and pop up and just tease a little bit that maybe they were still in it, but really all the numbers suggested I think it was 17 inside 50s to 8 in the third quarter. They lost Mitch Duncan, who'd been one of the best players on the ground, 17 disposals in just over a half a footy. He's got what could be a serious foot injury as the injury toll mounts, and in the end the Swans were all over the Cats. McVeigh with that lovely curling goal. There's a couple of nice little goals that could have gone either way. Here's a lovely snap from Buddy, and as I said, 4 goals, 5 for the night for Buddy Franklin, and a big win of over 40 points for the Sydney Swans. More to come from Sydney as we continue on and wrap up the round. But now let's turn our attention to what happened in Adelaide today. And after a slow start, the Adelaide Crows really got things going. And that was due to Eddie Betts, who was sensationally kicked 6 goals, took a great mark as well. They're also 5-2. And a decisive 46-point win. This game, as I mentioned, was marred by serious injuries. The Saints actually had 4 more inside 50s for the day, but they were smashed around the contest. They dominated in the clearance. Scotty Thompson, 35 touches. Patrick Dangerfield laid 10 tackles to go with his 24 disposals. Eddie Betts, 6 goals, 2, 5 tackles, 17 disposals. While Josh Bruce continued his amazing goal-kicking form with 5 goals, 1. Let's have a look at the highlights then. And as I said, the Saints were actually out of the blocks early. They were really good. They kicked the first 3 goals. Tom Hickey's been in some OK form. He put one through early, but Eddie Betts was the man that got them kick-started or jump-started, as you can see with that leap there. And he was able to get the set shot after taking a big mark over Dempster and pop this one through for a goal. It was the first of 6. This then was really part of an upsetting day from the injury front. Sickening clash between Nick Riewoldt, straight to hospital for scans. He just had the 5 possessions before he was cleaned up. Brodie Smith with 4 disposals. That's his second concussion for the day. He was helped from the ground. We'll have more on Nick Riewoldt in a moment as we continue, more injury problems with Matty Jensch. Sadly, what looks like a serious injury, a possible ACL for the Crows defender. So a tough day, a tough break for them to handle. But Eddie Betts, this is his 5th goal, charging through the pack. Taylor Walker also helped out up forward and was involved in quite a few of the goals. Here's Josh Bruce, the shining light for the Saints up forward. 12 more marks for Josh Bruce and 5 goals, 1. And Eddie Betts then, as I said, with some help from Taylor Walker, kicking his 6th goal, and he's on top of the Coleman, and he's having a sensational year. Just to rub salt into the wound, of course, of Carlton supporters. Well, let's hear from the coaches. Phil Walsh, happy enough to be 5-2, and Alan Richardson had to really contend with some bad injuries with 2 players pulling out in the warm-up.
When you're an inexperienced group and you lose Riewoldt, Montagna and Geary, leaders, that's pretty significant. The reality is, though, that it was not. They would have helped. There's no doubt about that. We won't pretend that's not the case, but. It was our inability to be able to handle the Crows' pressure. They just beat us in the contest way too often.
Riewoldt's down.
He'll stay in hospital overnight, just for observation purposes, but my understanding is that he's been cleared of any structural damage, fractures. They're looking at him from a concussion point of view, but he's up, he's cracking jokes with a couple of the staff, he's feeling okay, but he does need to stay in for the night.
I thought there was some exciting footy played. I thought they were really good early. St Kilda, they came over here with a plan. They challenged us in the areas of the game, that I like to win. Then I thought, in the second quarter, I thought we got control of the game, and then probably the last 6 minutes of the second quarter, I was really disappointed. I thought our inability to move the ball out of our back line was poor. Then I thought the third quarter was a really strong quarter again. They missed shots at goal, though. And I was really happy that we ended up winning the last quarter, but it looked a little bit like both teams were worn out.
He's a demanding coach, but he's getting results for the Adelaide Crows at the moment. All right, plenty more to come, all the other games, all the highlights coming up, and more reaction from the coaches. The Sydney Swans celebrating their 43-point win over Geelong.